Stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning, everyone. We are starting our budget meetings for the year 2025. And this morning we'll be starting with Jill Denault. Morning, Jill.
Morning.
Okay, this is for our indirect budget, which there isn't much to our indirect budget any longer. And the indirect budget, we have received state funds to fund that. The money that is currently in that indirect budget, we have a balance of 36,000 in there. And that is considered county dollars, although it came from the state, but it is considered county dollars, okay? So really the only thing, and Christy, you and I didn't communicate well back to you yesterday, but the telephone is the fax, I believe, because our telephones are through Verizon, so that must be our fax. That if you just send a bill to Holly for our amount, that can go under our direct.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
so we can get rid of that one.
get rid of that one. So the only thing really, I mean, I budgeted for the building maintenance and then the state's attorney is really all that comes out of that fund. It's pretty simple.
So we'll take the 500 off.
Yes, that will come out of the direct.
And I use the same percentage of the salary as in the past, so that is the percentage that you guys were paying, so.
And I didn't put anything in there because I didn't know what you were doing
Yeah.
for salary,
Yeah.
you know, so I didn't know if that
Yeah.
would change, so.
Yeah. Perfect, no, I did that last night, yeah, very good.
I know I'm just looking at, I'm sure, on utilities for last year, we did increase. And that seems like, because
So the utilities, what that was our Midco bill, that was the only thing that was coming out of utilities.
okay,
And I've gotten rid of the Midco,
oh,
we don't need cable TV, quite honestly, so I did take that out, so there will not be anything in that one either. Yeah.
Okay, any questions for Jill?
Wish they were all this easy.
Hour and 45-minute one, yes, right?
So when you said-
At least an easy one today, right?
When you said salaries, did the state pay that or is that our portion or do they get both or how does it turn in?
So we follow what the state, what the legislative increases are, and that is all funded through.
That's what I thought, I just wanna make sure.
State dollars, yeah,
Okay.
okay. Thank you much, everybody.
Thanks, Jill.
I can't remember.
no, because I'm just pulling them as they come and show up, so I.
Okay, any more questions on zone budget? Okay, that'll be good if we are ahead of time.
I just have a question.
Yes, Christie.
You got lime arrow, orange arrow, what am I missing here?
What's that?
You got lime arrow, orange arrow, what am I
Yeah.
missing?
The tab.
Wait, the tab, oh, did I not tab yours? Oh.
No, I'm like looking for this and I'm like, where is that? This is supposed to be simple.
It's one back, Christie.
Aw. It's only one paging through.
It's way at the back.
A lot more fun with tabs. Okay, here we go.
Well, you're using call
I'm
for
busy
victory. I
visiting
support
with
that.
Jenny.
Listening to his show. Hey, you'll have to give me a few minutes.
Yeah.
I will.
I got this end.
County.
That one should be kind of,
Right at the
very at the back.
In the back?
Yeah.
That's what mine
Yeah.
is.
Way back, yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's second to the last is
Yeah.
mine.
Yep.
I can maybe your colorblind.
I can run and get tabs quick.
No, that's fine. I got it. I just was, I thought, what am I missing here?
Yeah, no, yeah, that's what you're missing. Good.
Resource. So I might be missing a whole tab. Soil conservation.
Yeah, there, got it.
Got it.
Okay, this morning with soil conservation, I see we have Brandon and Josh and Joel. So whoever wants to come up, we'll start early.
Yes. Well, it's on the next thing. No. Contact the same tool. Get some hot seat on
Yeah.
You guys have, what do you guys have? 25. Budget 25.
25.
The
Yeah,
last thing that I received, the one that looks like this.
Yeah.
hey, whenever you're ready, Brandon, you can just.
Yeah, I guess, the biggest over, well, 23, I guess, would be, the 319 is gonna be utilized more because we have that employee now. So his wages will be in there, so that's why we're getting more grant money there.
Can you just, being everything is so small, can you just point to where?
319 is the last line actually of that. The last column, right? Yeah. Yeah, you're just gonna,
Okay,
you're just gonna look at the last
It's the
column.
very first one. Okay, I
Yeah,
got it.
very
Okay,
first one.
Thank you.
Grants and contributions.
okay.
319 grant is 35,500, whatever. And that's because.
Well, did you say the 319 grant was 35,000? 135,000, okay.
Yeah.
Hard to read.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how else it would, this is how it printed out.
Yep.
Well, so it was anyways.
I see.
But yeah, so that's the biggest change, I guess, is because of the addition of our new employee.
Don't look at the other 12 months, just that column. That'll help you a
The
lot.
total
The
column.
totals.
The totals, yeah, I just was looking to find it because, this is all, we have never seen any of this yet, so. I mean, so if you wanna go through a little bit, if anything's changed.
Other than the small increases on expenses, with utilities every year going up a little by little and tractor leases. They went up last year, so I'm thinking they're gonna go up again next year.
Fabric rolling up quite a bit.
Yeah, fabric.
It was 315 and went up to 15,000, right?
Yeah,
You mean to tell me you sell fabric in December?
that
Is
just,
that just a spread out through the year?
that's just a spread out throughout the
Like
year.
I said,
I don't-
don't look at the 12.
Yeah, it's actually just the total, but for whatever reason, it just equals out everything throughout the year. But yeah, most of our fabric sales is in the spring.
Yeah.
Other than that, insurances, stuff like that. And really not a whole lot that changed other than the 319 from the previous year.
So payroll is staying the same as last year, you say?
Payroll does have an increase for, wage increases for 2025.
We gave last year 5%, and I expect it probably be the same each year, which brings it to basically the same thing, except for one thing, and that's that we added an additional employee.
Yeah.
Which is 60% paid for by 319.
What benefits?
Same thing.
70%.
Same thing, yeah.
And that's where the whole grant, that whole dollar amount of the grant includes benefits and fringe benefits and other costs.
And it's not just his employment, it is also, theirs, if they're involved at all in the 319, which that happens numbers of times throughout the.
Well, like we have a watershed tech throughout the summer, that helps them out. Their wage also goes into that, so that's kind of the whole portion of that.
The way that works is every employee that contributes hours towards the 319, 60% of their time is paid for by the 319. So we have one person who's full-time contributing to the 319, so his entire salary gets put into that, 60% of it gets paid through the 319. And everyone else who contributes to the 319 on our time sheets, that also gets paid by the 319. 60%.
So I have a question, Madam Chairman. Yes. Now I lost my line. Where are you? Pay tree purchases on the second page. Under tree purchases, it shows that your tree purchase says you are planning are for $30,000. You're budgeting $30,000 for tree purchases.
Yes.
Okay. And then, but you're only, for tree sales, you're only going to take in 18,000, how does that work?
Well, that's not including plantings, so plantings is another line item on here. So how it works is the tree sales is just for like the tree sale period that we have at the end of the year. And the plantings and everything else rolled into, where's that one?
That's the same question. Tree sales is direct to
Yeah.
customers, tree
So-
plantings is one.
So
of
if you look
the
at
jobs
tree planting,
For tree
that's
rows.
52,000. That would be with the plantings we do throughout the year.
So that's not just for the labor of planting, that's including the cost of the tree plus planting?
Yes, yeah. And that tree income did go up a little bit, our tree purchases, I should say, did go up a little bit because I know we're gonna be, because of some grants that we're still working on with the city, the Parker Brand Grafton.
We just got 2 grants, so for $25,000 for the city of Grafton
Yeah.
and for the Park River.
The plant trees and for 25,000 each, so there's a little bit more there in tree
Nice.
sales.
Okay.
We should call the other grant. Oh yeah, there is another grant that we've been selected for, we're in the final stages of getting final approval for DUSDA for it. It's for 5.75 million, and it is a comprehensive program for planting full season multi-species cover crops, giving incentives to producers to plant that, and then also incentives to livestock producers to graze on that ground. So it's a cost share incentive program that will also include funding for administrative costs. It'll function similarly to our 319 grant in terms of how it affects wages, but we did not include it in the budget because we have to get that final stamp of approval by the USDA, but it was selected by the National Association of Conservation Districts. In the grant. Yeah, we got it. So,
It's a multi-county,
yeah, we have participation from counties from the Canadian border down to Cass Play. And so, not all of them, but, yeah, Pembina, Walsh, Grand Forks, Cass, Kitson, West Polk, and Clay. We participating in it, but we will be the hub because we wrote the grant, so.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
so you all would be sharing that 5.75 million in
Well,
some way?
A big chunk of it is going to producers.
Yeah, sure.
For the cost share plan to implement the practices, but we will have line items for the administrative work that goes into administering a complicated 4-year grant, like that, and line items for the marketing plan for building a market for local beef and regional beef and things like that. And line items for equipment for like a 30-foot multi-species grass drill and soil probe and other things that are necessary for the administration of the grant. So
Which will get us more income eventually because we'll be
yeah, it
charging for that grass.
yeah, it should significantly increase our grass. So that's, yeah, our grass planting business should significantly increase as a result of that grant.
Okay, go ahead, Ernest.
How many full-time and part-time help you? Yeah, I looked at that total payroll of almost 300,000.
Yeah, so there's Josh, myself, and David, are all full-time.
3 full-time?
Yeah, yeah,
How many part-time?
well, yeah,
And I know it varies.
One part-time for the full season, and then we have 4
During
seasonal,
spring.
4 seasonal, just summer, so.
With David at 60% paid by the.
Yeah, paid by the grants.
as well as one of the summer employees.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and one of the summer employees as well as 60% paid for by the grant. The water grant.
Well, I was just thinking we're given what, COLA, 2.5? When I look at that and I think that's at me, I looked at, that's a big number for wages and then you're gonna give a 5% on top of that?
Well, 5%.
That includes, that includes.
Oh, from 23,
Yeah,
okay, I didn't hear that.
from 24.
They're giving 5% in 24 also,
Yeah.
5% annually.
So anyone else getting $5.75 million grants in the county?
No, that's it. You guys are writing grants to get the money, I guess.
We're not
You have a-
changing the mill levy at all.
You have a board that decides on yours.
Yeah.
We decide on the county employees, so, I mean, just to make sure everybody realizes that, even on Zoom.
So the mill levy from 23 was 148.5. And now for 25, it's projected to be 162, so. Well, $14,000 increase, which is actually a 10% increase from 23. Right, so I don't know, is that?
I'm lost as to what you're saying, Joel.
Okay, if you look at, well, you don't have 23, the mill levy was $148,552. That's what we received in 23. And we're projecting to receive a mill levy of 162,000 for 25.
That's your total mills, that's not a mill levy.
Right,
That's
your
correct.
total
That's
mills.
correct. That's what I meant.
because we don't know what the price of
I don't know what the
mill levy is, right?
mill levies are,
Correct,
but
yet.
I'm just talking
No,
about
so hopefully it's
the
the total.
total mill levy is
Mhm.
162.
Yeah.
Total income coming from the county's taxes. Of course, our conservation district, that changed in 2 years, $14,000.
I guess I just have a concern with 5% every year when we've got other departments that write grants and they don't seem to get extra money. So just keep a track of that. It's,
Yeah, we will.
yeah, for sure, heck, if somebody hears that and everything else 5%, we're gonna get questions on it.
So you don't give raises to your employees?
Well, 2.5 plus that, but very seldom at 5.
Goes on the steps though.
The
Yeah,
state
well, but-
says,
Or, yeah,
I mean, no wonder why you're losing employees, I'm just saying.
yeah, it's a different thing. We're talking about two different things, so, if you can't, I'm sure you're not gonna give a 5% increase every.
Well, no, if we can't to budget it in, no.
Yeah.
If we can, we won't.
Right.
That's simple.
But the point of the budget is to have it budgeted in, to show that you can do this.
And it is.
So are you showing us that it's budgeted in,
Yeah.
or is it not budgeted in?
Yeah.
Because honestly, by what you've given to us, we can't tell.
Yeah. It comes out as a net zero. Net income, net zero.
So you,
You have.
Joel, you made the comment that, well, we think we're gonna give a 5%, but you're telling us that a 5% has been budgeted in. Brandon,
Yeah.
you're saying a
It
5% increase
has been
has been
budgeted.
budgeted in.
You have to put it in the budget in order to know that it's possible.
Well, I would hope so, but based on what you said, Joel, it sounded like you
No,
guys weren't sure. if-
No, I budgeted in.
Okay,
Yeah, it's in the budget.
Madam Chairman.
Yes.
So based on the mill value, that's where things could flux. Or do you have, is that kind of the thought is that that's where the give would be potentially as a percentage or increase?
Oh, absolutely.
That, I didn't know if there were other things you were thinking of. There's not really room for anything else. It's.
Yeah. I mean, unless everybody stops planting trees, and then obviously that goes away too, but let's hope that doesn't happen.
Hopefully, well, this time we're gonna start seeing more trees planted. I don't know if that'll ever happen, but
Is
we
it
need to make a concerted effort for that. Something has to change.
Is the 5 million, is it too early to say, or is that part of what, like, just with the blowing? I mean, was that kind of a forethought with? It's like, I feel like this year, maybe is a little early, being you guys are working to get that grant. But is that kind of part of the hope of accomplishing, like with the cover crop, but just
Yeah,
to
so
prevent?
that grant is, I would call it a soil health grant, it's what we're trying to do, and the principles of soil health include diversity of species, living cover year round, so that you don't have bare ground. Bare ground will blow or it'll flow, it'll either erode by water or it'll erode by wind, as we see. So diversity of species, living roots as long as possible, soil cover or armor. And then livestock integration is a big part of that as well, to bring back organic life and microbial life into the soil. It used to be that Walton County soils had close to 8% organic life. It's lucky if we see 3% today. We've lost, in some cases, over 50% of our topsoil in the valley since 1960. And so this grant doesn't just target Walton County, it's the whole region, but it's been a major group effort from a lot of soil health specialists. Naeem Kalwar at NDSU has been a big help with this. Brad Drummond contributed. We talked with John Sticka, retired NRCS soil health specialist, who really started the soil health movement in the western part of North Dakota. But really the quickest way to say it is that it mimics what our ecological region is a tall grass prairie. The soils were built by tall grass and large herd animals, and so we're trying to rebuild the infrastructure that has been pretty much kind of decimated over the last several decades.
Madam Chairman, so I have a question. You're talking about a grant that you may possibly get, or you for sure are getting it.
We've selected.
You
We've been
have-
selected.
That
for it.
means you will get the grant.
Yes,
You are
so,
going to get the funds.
well, so that's what I specified earlier, so I'll repeat what I said. We've been selected by the National Association for Conservation Districts. They're a sub-awardee of the USDA. So the stage we're at right now is getting final approval from the USDA for the release of the
So
funds.
you do not
That's
have
why-
final approval.
And that's why
Okay.
that's why it's not in the budget.
It's not in the budget at all.
Right, okay,
But
okay.
we have been selected for a very competitive grant. We're just crossing the Ts and dotting the Is.
And the 5.7 million, you get a portion of that because it's shared by all these other.
Yeah,
counties as well.
we would be the sub-awardee that is going to sub-award the rest of the other counties. So, I mean, technically it'll all come to us, but most of it is gonna go out the door to producers
Okay,
in
and
other counties.
the other question I had is, what did you use for the value of a mill levy?
What I used was, a little bit more than what 2024 was, which was 64 something.
So you just estimated it yourself, basically?
Yeah, just.
I think all departments are just estimating that.
What else would we go on?
Yeah. Is that grant, it scares me, is that grant, when you say USDA, can that be cut because of the farm bill? Cause they haven't done the farm bill yet, and everything sort of gets chopped when that goes to the farm bill.
I mean, I suppose it could. I mean,
That's what
we don't
scares
have any control over that, but.
Never a guarantee on grants,
Yeah, I know.
unfortunately, until you see it.
Yeah.
Because they weren't gonna bring that up. I brought that up.
Yeah.
I just wanted to show you that they're working on a really big deal. It isn't in the budget at all. It's not part of our thinking at all. It's a future thing. I just wanted to show you what's actually happening with these guys.
There's also grants that don't contribute directly to our budget, but we've got about $100,000 worth of education grants in the last year. And the community outreach grants, community forestry grants that for Grafton and Park River. So, yeah,
But they're not covered this budget.
yeah, there, none of that's in the budget currently because we are working on how those will actually apply. We're getting grants so quickly that we are struggling to, try to figure out exactly how they're gonna apply to our 2025 budget, but they will.
So are there any more questions for Taylor guys? Okay, the last thing I want is, when is your soil health tour?
Yeah, so we have
Just
actually
give us
this,
the date for that.
yeah, no, this week, we'd like to invite everyone in the county to, and all the commissioners, we have on Thursday morning at 8:30 a.m. Farms, that's FARRMS, it's a program founded by Fred Kirschman, a big prominent person in agriculture. They focus on, we're doing our arbor walk, I should say. Starting at 8:30 at Lestico Park in Grafton as part of Summerfest. And at 8:30, the Farms program will be there to talk about their programming that they have for first-time farmers, small acreage farmers, local food initiatives. So they are an organization we're working a lot with right now. And then we'll have Grace Ivestall from North Dakota Forestry will give a tour of our riparian area in Lestico Park, and we'll learn a lot about trees. And Heather Slarski will also give a talk on the pollinator garden and the work with pollinators out there. So that's from 8:30 till about 11 on Thursday, and then on July 18th. We are doing our annual soil health tour, which will start at Palmy Dam. Registration can begin anytime. First 50 people to register will get a free lunch from Beth Stone Cooking. We will begin at 8:30 on July 18th at Palmy Dam. We'll give a little talk about our 319 out there. The next stop, we'll go to the gravel pit area where we'll talk about the aquifer and the work we're doing for prairie restoration projects with an organization called Farrakhan. Our next stop will be at Oxbow Orchard, where we will do a tour of the orchard and also eat lunch. That's on cooking. And then the last stop, or the next stop will be Ducks Unlimited planning that we did right on Highway 17, right on the other side of the dike, right by the bee piler. And there's farm ground there and wildlife ground right next to each other, so it's a good location to kind of see that. And then our final stop will be back at Palmy Dam with a Q&A talk between myself and Naeem Kolwar, the soil health specialist.
I would just advise anybody to go on this tour. These tours this is where you learn all about the soil health, what they're doing with cover crops in the county. And, yeah, just the stuff that's going on, so.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, well, thank you guys for coming in. Thank you. Thank you. The blue tab is next.
Or the recorder tab for 60.
How are we supposed to compare last year's expenses when they're not listed on there?
Well, do we have them over here?
I got this.
No, this
one.
was
Yeah.
this was a difficult, they should be able to tell us how much, what they were using for a mill levy. You guys, anybody could come in and bump that mill levy up to anything they want. They couldn't tell us what they were using for a mill levy, the value they were using for a mill levy. That should have been told to us.
So last year, the assessed 2.24 mils. And if I use 162,000 divided by the price right now, it's 2.51. Even if it's, say, 66,000 is the mill, I have no idea what it's gonna be, but that's 2.45. I mean, 66,000 is a big increase in the mill, and that's 2.45, so there's still.
We can't allow this.
I mean,
They came in and just So what did they use for the value of the
We
mill?
decide what we give them.
And then they figure out their,
No, we're already giving them the max, they can't get any more, correct?
Right.
Right.
Oh, I thought they could go up to 4, couldn't they?
They can go up to 2.5.
2.5, okay.
2.5.
And we gave them 2.24 last year.
Yeah.
This was an impossible budget to follow.
That's why
It wasn't a budget.
I looked at these salaries and everything else, and I was like, my God.
I agree.
Well, they're both over 70.
Well, for them to come in and roll their eyes at it when we talk about salaries and be sarcastic, I'm not impressed.
I thought that too.
Yeah. And you know what, I always
Was
think,
was I the only one feeling that
Yeah.
way?
when he made that remark, well, don't you pay the increase, I'm going,
Yeah.
yeah, we do, but
24 was the value of this.
He couldn't even tell us what he was using for the value of the flesh.
I wonder if I could sell it for 3 full-time and one another,
But it will be-
we call it part-time, full-time, and then,
Yes.
and I'm going, my God.
Should I?
Yeah. We have to keep that in mind when we're giving the mills, because what they want to do is use every mill that we're giving for all for salaries, and that's not fair.
If they're getting that much money from these grants, I'd say back down on the mill.
That's what I think, I agree, and I want to see the grants in there, and you can't say about the grants, and pass the grant. They'll the grants fall off,
Yeah.
they fall through.
Yeah. And that's what I said, you know.
So that's the point of, thank you.
Yes.
This is.
Well, we're gonna have one
Good
better.
morning, Edith.
Good
Morning, you guys. Morning.
Morning, guys.
Good morning.
Do you? oh. You're blue today, huh, you got?
You can just go ahead.
I guess mine is short and sweet, salary. Suggested, but I guess from Tanya, you went with those numbers, travel. Dues went up, well, the reporters, discussed dues going up, so rather than 400, I went 600. And marriage license is, can range from 50 to 100, so I just went with 100.
Yours is easy.
There ain't much we can find there.
I wanted to mention, US Imaging came a few years ago and did, Image Star deeds. Miscellaneous records, I'd like them to come back again, and do our indexes. They are getting more, I'd like to do that, but I have my document preservation fund and my special trust fund, and got about 60,000, give or take in each, that I would use that for.
60 each?
I have that included, so part of what I did this year is I had them
Okay.
review all of their lines. So second page is the dock preservation, so you'll see her revenue, up at the top for 5,000. And then the recorder trust is the next one, but then on the very last page, those are the funds that are applicable to Quebec. So the docs, the top is the December 31st balance, and then May 31st balance. So yeah, each one of her funds has, 159,000, 165,000 is the May 31st.
Madam Chairman,
Yes.
Yvette, do you have an approximate idea how much will it take quite a bit of this to
The
do?
last time when Diane did it, she did it right before she retired, it was close to 100,000.
Between,
But I'm asking for an estimate, I'll do whatever I've got money for, but I'm not going to put it down to zero,
Yeah.
because that would just be nonsense.
Madam Chairman, so where do you get this money from? Is this from recordings and different
Yes.
things? Is
It's
it
for
the money that's built up? It's nothing to do with mill levies.
No. The $3 is preservation, that is the century code. And then I want to say 2003, I believe Linda, I think was the reporter then. The commissioners made a resolution that $2 went into that fund.
Okay,
The preservation is century code, but the other one was, I want to say 2002.
Were those funds sort of, I don't wanna say depleted, but down when Diane left, and you regenerated as much?
Yes,
Huh?
I've been trying to, because the books are getting old.
Yeah, yeah.
And some of them are very outdated, so.
Well, it's nice that we can generate that kind of good stuff to do that kind of stuff.
Yes, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Any questions for Yvette? Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
So, are we talking about salaries and the other ones? Do you guys feel bad if we ask them for their salaries so we can see them? We did it with JDA that time.
I think that's just fine. We have a right to know.
Well, you know, we look at everybody else's and I know, I'd like to see them.
Yeah, of course we.
I mean,
You know that.
we can reduce the mill levy, right?
Yes.
If we feel they don't need that much.
When they start being up in the upper echelon of the county paycheck scales, it's time to look.
We need to clear. Oh, yes, the information, yeah, we need more targeted information.
We think alike.
Good morning, Dave.
That is.
Oh,
Red,
We gave you the red tab.
we get the red one. Boy, this is nice. He does that.
Well, it is, yes, but still, this is all new, it's taking me a while to. Well,
Yeah. It's,
a lot of paper, but it's organized. Not a lot of paper. This is a different way of reading it. so-
I know.
it's
And I'm not.
organized chaos.
Like in reading.
Yeah.
Okay, Dave. You wanna just go ahead and tell us where there's differences and anything new on the budget for you?
Well, of course, the pay and salaries and the insurance and all that put on there. Let's see, office supplies, that's going up a little bit. So when we was going over the budget, Chris and I was looking at it and it seemed really, really tight compared to last year. And so just padded a little bit to get a little bit more, so I don't have to be in the hole, you know, coming next year.
Yeah, yeah, yes.
Okay, so David and I worked closely together on this, and on the second page, you guys will see, I did make a mistake on the projections last year for vet services. When I started, it was 6 months in, so then I took the revenue for the first 6 months and just doubled it, thinking that that's how it worked, but it clearly did not, so it was about $20,000 less. So when we look at his December 31st, balance, he only had $4,000 left over. As of May 31st, he only has 19,000. And when I figured out his 0.8s, because we cut his mill quite a bit. So, his 0.87 mills, all that's left to generate is about $10,000 for the year. If it's all collective. So you can clearly see that we're projecting he's gonna have at least an $11,000 deficit this year. So that was on me. I'm looking into Century Code on that too. So when David and I sat down and looked at it, we first went through and we tried to figure out where we were at. And if you can see on the actual budget on the first page, then there are little next to the 2024 unused. That's the minimum we think to be safe on the increases and stuff. But we didn't know how else to tackle to recoup that 11,000. So we did try to move them around a little bit. I did reach out to another county last night. I was starting to think about it and you know, technically the county is covering the 11,000. You know, is it something you guys need to look at, even not increasing this and then just doing a transfer to cover the deficit out of county general or something instead? You know, there's ways to recoup it, because technically if he's negative anyway, it's county money that he's using. So there's a couple different ways we can go about it. We just felt when we were doing it, because it's a preliminary, so we went higher, knowing that there's possibly cuts. Because you guys will have to decide how you guys are gonna wanna handle that. I looked back and in the past, he always, not always, but very often, he was negative at the end of the year. In years past as well, just not 11,000, unfortunately.
Well, we don't
Um,
have that.
And I think that part of, like David and I said, it's almost harder when it's a single budget. Because you don't have a lot of cushion at all, and he runs his budget extremely frugal. So he's already, his expenses aren't, so if there's even a change in the utilities by $30 a month, that could bust his budget, you know? Same with us not knowing what the insurance increase is
Yeah.
gonna be. He pays all the insurance, so we tried to figure that in the best we could. But even last year, we didn't know what the rate was gonna be, so when we budgeted last year, we didn't know it was gonna increase as much as it did. So, you know, there's a lot of factors, so it's almost harder when it's a small budget like this, not on county mills, than the other way around, so.
So if we raised it a quarter mil, he'd gain another 15,000, that'd get him out of the hole, at least for this year.
Yeah, it would take care of the deficit
Yeah.
that he'll carry over, and that was kind of what our thought was, if we, depending on how you guys wanted to handle it, we just didn't wanna short him enough.
Well, if I was the director, I don't know if I'd always want a negative budget. I mean, I'm just thinking for him, I mean, yeah, we can do it anyway, but at least if we put the quarter back, he'll build that cushion a little.
Yeah,
Chance instead of running negative and then having to come to us.
Are you okay with that if we decided to do and we can look at it more, but I would say that's the way to go.
yeah, see where our numbers are at the end, and that's kind of what we thought too when we were doing it, we have no idea what the value of the mill is gonna be, we have no idea. Where the county was gonna be sitting, so we just thought we would try to. Inflate where we felt that it was an option, you know what I mean, like, we didn't just throw numbers around, we feel they're justified numbers. But,
Well, we did take a quarter, you know, off of his
Mhm.
last year, so I mean.
Give it back.
We weren't, you know, looking at all of it, so now that you had a chance to really look through and go through together, I think adding that back on would be good.
it was 0.63. We cut over half of a mil, so current mill was 1.5, or so in 2022, he was 1.5, and then 23, he was 0.87. So the change in
I
the.
don't think we have this, so.
Was that,
Right.
But
oh, that's the old one, yeah,
Well,
that was
it is, but,
not the most up-to-date one,
yeah, we
yeah,
should have.
yeah, yeah, I will get, yeah, this is October, that one's August,
Because
so
that goes by,
this is what actually happened.
yeah, and everything is rounded off when we get it, we don't get that,
No, that was when we were still working our
so,
numbers, so.
Madam Chairman.
Yes.
And I also appreciate you just working together to put these in parentheses for it to help us see, cause I think when you look at like the employee benefits, you know, for an increase even of a few $1,000s, I mean, that's just given with what's gonna happen with one person, you're gonna expect that, so,
Out of 12 months.
yes.
Exactly, yeah. So this was a tough one. And I appreciated David's patience, because I mean, we spent probably 3 hours on it, on this little thing. So,
any more questions for David? Well, looks like there's no more questions, so thanks.
Thanks, David.
David.
I appreciate it.
Yep.
So Christie, what are your promises meet here, the 2024 to date? What are you doing?
so that was what we thought originally, when we were doing our numbers, that we thought that was a safe number, what he would need. So on the right-hand side, that's an addition, you know, like, so like his office supplies, that's 700. At least keep it at 700, but when we are presenting the numbers, we're saying 1,200. So that if you guys cut anything, we kind of have an idea of how low,
Where to go.
yes, where, And that difference is to try to
Recoup.
recoup the negative amount. But as we were going through, like, same with the travel. You know, the rates, the mileage will go up and then the hotels, that rate is different, so. We raised that by 250, but then we added another 1,000 to try to recoup that, so. It was a shot in the dark, just giving us some options so that. You guys could try to figure out what was that.
So if we took his 91,870 divided by, let's say we use last year's mill,
Yeah,
64,418, right?
yep. I think I did that and I don't have it written down.
He'd need 1.43 mills.
Correct.
And last year we gave him how many mills? Because we don't have any of that information in front of us, do we? Or-
In the front of your guys,
No,
I don't know if yours.
I'm kind of lost.
I got the old one.
Can you go make a copy of that?
Early last year, I got him, we only took a quarter mil from him.
Yeah, you have that one, you have the
No,
one.
this is last year.
Yes, that's what I have, that's what I'm going off of. 'Cause
Oh,
I don't
that's
have
what they're
it yet.
using.
Yeah,
Oh, I thought
that's-
it was something new.
No, this is,
You're
so
using
yours
that
is the October one.
Oh, okay.
Again,
So,
Oh,
yeah,
is
I
it
can make a
here?
photocopy.
Is it this one right here?
The October 3rd, yep, so that's the most recent one that was after the final was approved. Let me
I
go
don't think I got that.
Make a copy?
Yeah,
I
okay.
don't have one.
Yeah, no, I will.
Danny might have mine. He has like 3 over there.
What?
Yeah, so we'd be going up over a half a mil. But I mean, our mill
Because of
most likely will
valuation.
increase, so
Yeah.
that'll shift it too. I mean, we got a lot of moving pieces here.
Yeah. I had an increase, I had an arrow last year when it talked about telephone.
I wish we could keep, I'm gonna ask her about that. I wish I had my last year's binder
Well,
and my this year. I know, but you
I
can't
know.
find anything in there
Well, yeah.
because it's not tabbed. I wish I could have a new tab.
More in the back, cause I was looking through the whole front, she said most of that is just their. Kind of fluff info, it's more in the back where you start seeing.
Do you think,
that's why it's hard to compare.
do you think
because-
next year, Christie, we could keep our binders and just start a new binder?
Well,
Because then I'd be able to look at my last year's binder and this year's and it would tell me the whole story.
And that's what I'm doing. I have to, and that's, I wonder.
That's what I want for next year, please.
We're going forward too, so in week
23.
Would it be wrong if you had these behind and then you could take them out instead of 2 separate binders, we just put these in behind?
I think it gets a lot.
And we could just rotate the binders too, you know what I mean, like, once you guys are done with this year,
Which page you guys got?
I think it's binders are cheap.
yeah,
I just want
exactly.
another binder. Just leave my
Yeah.
last year's binder alone and I just want
I
a new
agree,
binder.
I agree, yes, so because that's what I did too, because I look at it here, correct?
Well, I gotta look to it.
See the numbers
From any of
on
them,
it.
2 or 3 of them here.
Yeah,
I don't
On
know
the
which one's
sheet
the last
here,
one.
but
it's like that, it's that.
Yeah.
better when I'm looking at what
I need 2
working on.
separate. I
Yeah,
want visual.
yeah.
I like kind of the whole, being able to see exactly and then comparing.
Yeah, yeah.
You get
so
more,
I
you get
will.
more confused.
Isn't this the comparison here of what?
Yeah, so that's the same thing as what is in the
Yeah, I
binder.
did grab it.
Yeah, kind
I'm
of
trying to
little
find one,
things
Christie.
on their piece of paper.
I
and
grabbed yours, I'm trying
Yeah,
to find
because
it.
there
I've got
is-
through this mess.
There is in that second column, the actuals, adopted, whatever. On that page we have, so.
Yeah, so I'm using $4,000 in 23. That's a pretty good.
Yeah,
And I had,
I'll go for these reds, I'm gonna go back. Yes.
So basically, we should be comparing the 2025 request to your 2024 adopted because that's the budgets that we used. And then you're just showing us year-to-date actuals, which. I mean.
half a year, yeah, exactly. And then so 2023, the first 2 or 3 columns is what happened in 2023.
Yeah.
So the biggest thing that I was looking at was the unused for 2023. Because of
Yeah, and he's got quite a few of them that are in parentheses,
Yeah, over,
so.
But that doesn't mean negative.
Oh,
That's what
yeah.
I thought
Yes,
at
yes.
first I'm like, what are all these negative balances?
Yeah.
oh, no, but under the 2023 unused, under the third.
Oh, yeah, but
Yeah,
I'm talking on 2024 year to
Yeah.
date.
No, no, that
Because I
was,
see parentheses, I think negative.
yes,
And I'm like, wait, what's going on here?
Yeah,
Okay.
50 so.
Oh,
here, I made the next one.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
no, that is that. I did, when we were looking at the travel for his too though, in 23, he had like $2,000 left over. That was because it was still, they could do one of the, conferences through Zoom. And that is no longer, so we did cut it for 24, so he's probably gonna be really tight close on his travel at 1,500. Cause I can't remember where he travels to for that one, but it's quite a few days too, so.
we need to tell people to be here 10 minutes earlier, 5 minutes earlier than
Just in
that
case.
day, yes. Because
No.
we should be starting.
Well, I know, but she shouldn't have to remind people to be here
Well-
early, should she?
Okay, so
I think they should be responsible, the department heads.
we'll just, it's a reminder, not.
So then Jason's I did not put in the binder because,
She's just cutting into her own dime. She's got till 10 a.m.
oh,
We
I
get
have to
early.
call her, you guys.
Well,
That's what's
yeah,
wrong.
I'll
No.
decide that.
I'm gonna call her, you guys. I'm sorry. I have to call Dawn. She's not in the area.
Oh, she's coming on Zoom.
Just on the phone. Yes, I'm sorry. I thought we were waiting for Jason. I'm sorry.
Let's see.
She's out of the general budget, right?
Yeah.
And that's the same with Yvette. Correct, yes.
Okay. Sorry, you guys.
I have another question. Is it easier to make the things like this than this way?
Can't, I have no control. over
Yeah,
that.
printer, you know.
Okay.
There's she. Three.
Hi, good morning, Dawn. We are ready for your budget.
Awesome. Good morning, Karen. How are you?
Good. We have you on Zoom and then we have all the commissioners here.
Okay, thank you. I submitted my budget request and it was steady from last year. And not because we don't want an increase, but frankly because we're trying to find money elsewhere to support our team. Going into next year and even this year, we've been in a bit of transition in our office. Really focusing at regional issues, more than some other local issues. To address the more complexities around housing and workforce in particular. And then, as you're all aware, we contracted also with the Wells County JDA last year for the next 3 years. So now we have 3 county JDAs under our portfolio. Our total budget forecast for revenue, I highlighted at the bottom of page 1 in the bottom left. In all the categories, we're projecting about a 1.132 budget for next year. And, our expense side is at 983,000. And nearly virtually all of our expenses in people power and the manpower to do the things that we need to be done. At the end of April, our cash balance on hand was roughly a month and a half of operating, which is much less than we would be comfortable having on hand. We would like to be at 6 months. However, in the last couple of years, we've invested in additional staff resources around the housing in particular, as well as developing the incubator project. So that's your potential forward. On the housing side, we will get some of that cash back throughout this year. So on the second page, I wanted to call out, when we haven't had a chance to come visit, I would love to do a more thorough briefing on our comprehensive economic development strategy. This will take us and our focus in our regional work for the next 4.5 years. So we're focusing on the economy, which we've always done, and helping our business community grow. We've also been well aware, through all the surveys and public engagement things we've done over the last 3 years, to focus more heavily on people's side of things. So helping communities grow into places that people want to live and make it a place of choice. We're experiencing a bit of a housing crisis currently. In Walsh County, in the last 5 years, housing has appreciated 75%. So our existing staff has grown in value, which is actually quite needed because the values they were at made it really difficult to just develop new housing. That's why I mentioned the other day the need for wages to also go up because everything else is also going up. It's helpful on the housing development side if the wages and the housing appreciation happens. In places like Nelson County, we saw over 200% increase in values. So at the end of 2022, we enlisted Lisa Waxel to join our team. She has 30 years of housing development experience and really was able to help us hit the ground running with this. So we have 4 single-family houses being built this year. Hopefully, an 8-plex will be under construction in Cavalier. We've secured funds for both. Cavalier project is already working on their equity raise. They need to raise $800,000 to match the other funds in the project. The single-family houses that are under construction currently in Fortville or in sorry, I was thinking of Tommy Gamble and building them from Fortville, but the single-family houses in Lakota, we believe we already have one under contract. We have several others interested in those 2 houses. We'll build 2 more in Laramore yet this year. So it's really great to see the positive reaction to these projects and see that it's coming. Our housing study is showing that we need thousands of new housing units in the Red River region and Region 4, including Grand Forks. But we are very well underserved. The other thing that's exacerbated the housing issue is that our region today has nearly 1,000 H-2A visa workers. So slowly all of our communities, farmers have been buying up houses as well to house their H-2A visa workers. And we would love to also consider other solutions there to help possibly develop housing specifically for those sorts of workforce pieces. And then on the workforce, then we've been working with the Real Good Northeast North Dakota. Stacy was leading this effort and in January this year, we heard to Christy Kastrick, who's native of Walhalla and has an extensive marketing background. So she is diving into this. So all of that is being led by this team of our staff. This is our current staff. We are vacant in Nelson County, which is a half-time position. And Cheryl Fauci works for us on a part-time as-needed basis, which is terrific. But everyone else is daily full-time. Dr. Kendra Rosenthal also part-time as needed, and does a lot of our research for us on different things that we're pursuing. So at the top of the table and also listed the board of directors, Amy Suda is serving as our president currently, and we're really grateful for that leadership. We have a few other transitions that will be happening and are happening on the board currently. But we will be filling these spots. We're also wanting to be diligent to fill these spots with folks that have interest and have something to offer in support of all the strategies that I just shared about. So 2023, our impacts were a little bit lower than we've seen historically. In the last 5 years, we've secured over $20 million total. So it's a little bit lower, but we've been doing a lot of planning and transitioning of our staff, and we really expect that number to significantly increase in 24, 25. So just with that, I'll entertain any questions that you may have.
Any questions for Dawn?
Well, I do have a question, just because I couldn't hear you at first at the beginning, Dawn. Did you say for your budget request, you were requesting the same amount as what you requested last year from Walsh County?
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I understood you right.
Actually, I did request a full mill and I was, we were given 45,000, so I'm requesting the same 45,000. It's under the expense box in the lower right on page one.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else? Okay, well, thank you, Dawn.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Let me know if you have any questions.
Okay.
Take care. Yeah, bye.
Am I missing something? I don't see regional council on our last year's budget.
So it's a miscellaneous within county general, so it's not broke out within, it's part of our 16
Oh,
mills. So
okay.
that's part of what I do, my fund line that I go over with you guys.
Yeah, so did you guys understand this, that this is her 2025 budget? She's showing this as revenue and expense, right? I mean, I don't see oh, up at the top, maybe it says 2025 in small letters. Okay, so
Yeah.
she's saying that they're going to take in revenue of 1.1 million, they're going to have expenses of 983,000, so they've got a pretty good cushion there. Is that what I'm understanding? Is that what you guys are understanding?
According to that,
Well, the 1.1, I think quite a bit of this grants or, you know, like if you look at the workforce development and attraction difference. Yeah, because she's saying that they have a month and a half of operating,
Yeah, what?
a month and a half of operating. Like last year, they had 3 good fund balance,
What did she have for carryover?
159,
It's down in the very bottom,
right?
yeah.
Oh,
If you compare it, last year it was at 248.
Yeah, but I mean, that's huge, almost 250,000 carryover is pretty much.
Yeah.
Great. But with what they, said about it's,
so
yeah.
this sort of relates, I don't know if it's regional or JDA. You know, we didn't promise, but we get for the downtown deal, the 250,000.
That's done.
So is that money not gonna be used, and we still have that, or where does that go?
It's not dead. Not dead, that project.
Well, but it's
But we
not-
gotta use it by the end of the year, so that my point is, if something don't happen and we don't, and we pledge, or whatever you wanna call it, pledge.
Yeah.
Yeah, so. I don't know.
But we estimated, out of our county fund, we didn't pledge for that project, did we? It was JDA that pledged, right? Because we said.
Oh, that's right.
We
Went
wouldn't
through
double
JDA.
dip, because they wanted from us, and we said, no, we're not going to double dip.
It's in the JDA.
It's JDA, so I think we're okay, that's more of a JDA issue.
We interesting to see what the JDA budget comes in.
Right, right.
Sometimes I feel we get double dipped on the regional one and the JDA.
Stacy's doing a good job. It's.
Yeah.
What's that?
Stacy's doing a good job. It's not.
Well, I'm not questioning it, just.
How many employees does she have?
Done. A lot of part-time input, a lot of remote. Which has been more of a challenge. Kendra,
But that's sort of the animal of her deal, it's employees and grants and
I
studies.
lost the Nelson County employee that's vacant right now. She said it was Kendra Rosencrantz, didn't she have it listed? I'm not
So
sure.
does anyone remember
Team.
how many meals we can give versus how many meals we gave last year?
Well, that's part of, and we can JDA.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, not JDA, regional.
So they don't have their own mills.
Yeah.
So it's part of our county general budget.
Yeah.
That
And you're
45,000.
going through all that with.
Yes, yep, that one. So
This
in
is-
2020,
So what did we give before? She said she said, I didn't ask for the max, she said, you know, she said I didn't
She
ask
asked
for
for
the
the
max.
same, so she asked for a mill last year, I think that was the expectation, like 62,000 or whatever.
That's what
We
she
gave
asked, okay, that's what I
45,000,
Okay,
and that's what she's asking for this year is the 45.
and previously it was $42,200 for the last 3 years, so must be 21, 22.
so we actually did give her a little more.
A little bit more last year from, if we raised it a little bit, if I look at that budget.
So realistically, if you wanted to, you could chop it down on that, and if you did, and I'm not saying we're going, but I mean.
Right, but we
because that's
can,
not-
because
right.
that's not mandatory, I guess
Mandatory.
that's what I'm wondering.
Yeah.
And I'd like to know what, I guess, other counties are giving as well.
Yeah, for a while, we were getting more than Grand Forks on the GDA end of it.
I don't. Okay, we'll move on to Jason. Oh, we're gonna take a little break. Yeah, you gotta say something. Okay, Jason, take it away.
Right, you just have the highlighted, one on top or.
Yep, like the black highlighted,
Or,
the 1,038.26. The top, yep, the top one.
Okay.
With the risk manager, so we don't have any of those amounts listed yet.
yeah,
Jason's got them.
I have that here,
Okay,
so.
oh, are they there in the packet? Oh, got it.
This loose packet,
Yep, the loose packet is all of Jason's. Yep,
and which one are we looking for?
the very top, 1,038.
Under account.
Okay, got it.
Yep, there. So then the middle section is the first of the budgets form and I put that under Brent with the new way the system does it. Get rid of it.
Just be, no, behind this.
Oh, okay. I don't really know too much. Yeah, is that good?
Yes.
So originally I missed this section, so Jason quickly did it, so we'll have to write the amounts in, okay? As he gives them to us.
So which account, Bill? 1,000.41220001, travel risk
Oh,
management.
okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
The middle of the page, the very first page.
Oh, probably.
That one.
This one?
I should have.
Yeah, you better put that on back where it goes. Ours are all on the top. There, help them. Jason's.
Mine's under highway, budget about middle of the way.
Here,
Why wouldn't it be right on top then? That one to the right.
here, I have a whole nother packet.
He's got spares there, tires.
Just got used to working with it. So here's, well, that you are fine, I'll take those away from you,
All right.
okay, perfect, so then.
Yeah, okay, yep.
Now we know. Yeah, now 45 minutes.
It is
yes.
harder to read these because they're smaller.
I agree, and there's no way to, increase them, so that's.
But I like that they're tight. That's a big improvement from last year.
What type?
Oh,
The numbers are really tight.
Yeah, yeah.
So with the travel risk manager on that, 1,000.4122.001, when I started, when I started with the county, it was $1,500. They have these safety transfers, Tammy and I haven't gone to them, we can get the training online. So we're just gonna leave that as the same as last year, as a zero for the travel budget. If we decide there's something we need to go travel for, we get to take that out of the miscellaneous really easily. So we'll leave that at zero. The safety supplies risk manager, we'll leave that at $2,500. In the last couple of years, we haven't had to touch this because our requests for safety products between shares and ergonomics and things. We had enough money in the grant that we get, that Tammy manages, that we haven't had to touch this. This year, it's not looking that way. We're gonna, our requests are what we'll get for the grants. We'll end up using some of this money this next year for it. So, but we'll still leave that at that 2,500. The dues, classes, subscriptions, $750. We paid that out of WSI before, but we're gonna move that over to here. So we have that portion. And then,
So 750, you're putting it out?
yeah, $750, we'll just leave that the same. And then the miscellaneous, we'll leave that the same as $250 as well. So total for that, we're looking at 3,500. It won't be any change from what? 3,500.
And so this was under Brent last year?
No.
No, it's under his,
Oh.
this number, no, I put it on the report under Brent this year.
So this safety manager is the title that Tammy has as one of her duties, where she works under getting the, what we talked last commission, we got that $16,000 in refunds for the different things, so she has to babysit staff to make sure they go through and sit through it 30-minute, get those things and some other work. So this is all, that's all stuff that Tammy takes care of. So that's that portion. The next one we have Is that, well, is there any questions on that before I move to step?
Are we, now we're just starting with this top page. Right,
Just go down the line.
down the line.
Yeah, I think so. That works for everyone. Yep.
So that was risk management. Now what's that 4160.002, janitor, for the county agent with the step that will change to 9,048. For extra help, that next line, that is to, we're not getting any requests for coming to work with Nikki as a part-time person at all. We've been waiting for numbers from Tanya. She and I spoke on the phone, but she doesn't have the market values. She figures that the only way we'll be able to do it is to get a full-time person, and her number was $20 an hour. So that's where that 41,600 comes from on the next one. That'd be $20 an hour for a full-time employee. That full-time employee right now, with revenues that we get from the Chase building and rental from probation is about $23,000. With that money, if we were to earmark that money for that rental right to that position, and we were to start to take over our mowing, that's another $14,400 this year. It's gone up the last few years. We can take care of our own mowing between here and Park River with another full-time person. So between the revenue and the mowing, that's $37,000. It's almost paid for that full-time position. No, the problem I have is when we start somebody else new at $20 an hour, we have a bad compression with Mickey. Mickey's only gonna be with her step at $22.76. To me, there needs to be at least a $5 difference between the supervisor. So that's why I have her changed up to that $52,000. I spoke with Tanya. She felt my reasoning was fine, but she didn't have anything for market value, so being where we are, we need to start high, so that's kind of the way we're approaching it. But from the conversations I've had with Nikki and the equipment we have, we feel that we can take on more and not have to worry about it.
Madam Chair.
Yes,
I put the step next to, under the 2024 unused line. So that was, if we keep that step, I put that on there for you guys.
The 47,
340, yeah, so that is what the schedule says it should be.
so for,
For Mickey, yeah,
so that would be with our 2%, if we say the
Yes.
2% COLA and our step.
yeah.
But you're saying you bumped it up because you feel, you just kind of are pulling it out of the air because you have nothing to go on right now, so you bumped it up to
I
25.
bumped it to 25 because I honestly feel, well, and Nikki basically told me if she's still left at that $22.76, then she doesn't feel like she'll be supervising the person who's starting at 20. Maybe we can get somebody that started at 18, but for a full-time position, I really don't see this, in the cost of living these days, I don't see it honestly being less than 41,000 to start with. Now, with that said, we're getting this position on, even when the jail comes on, we're lucky enough to get that passed through. We do not feel we'll need to add another person. We'll feel with those two positions, we'll be able to take care of it.
Would they be able to do anything with snow removal in the winter? What do they do now?
Right, after the initial snow gets taken care of, Nikki's out there shoveling it.
She does all the shoveling.
She shovels and she does ice control all day.
Can we get anything other than a shovel?
Well, we have a tractor with.
Well, I mean-
Sweep on and a snow blower that we could do, but you still have to do the stairs. So she does that portion, and there are days when it gets to be crazy, where I'll go over and get the skid steer and run it down the sidewalk if we're getting a lot during the day.
Just for her help, you get those little push blowers. I got one and it's surprised.
That's what I'm talking
Just to
about.
help her out. I mean, I can't imagine shoveling them stairs and everything else. Maybe look into one of them and.
Well, we also bought one of those, when it's the powder snow, we have a still leaf blower that'll take.
Okay,
Oh,
yes,
So
okay.
we do have that option for her.
But I've blown snow that thick with that little bugger and it'll, I mean, just to help her so she don't have to shovel that much.
Yeah, we take a bit of the oil fill power brings, for sure.
I guess what I'd like to see before the final though, or somewhere in between is actual market data, not just, I'm gonna bump Mickey to 25. I get what you're doing, but I would like to see market driven data as to what she should be getting.
And
Because that's how we treat all the other employees, so I don't think we can just start pulling a salary out of the air for.
Russell Scrapper paying $30 an hour.
So we're raising,
Like I said, we need to go market driven, what.
but I get where he's coming from, we're raising, and we have to raise the sheriffs to be competitive, so now. How do we start somebody less than maybe 20, and then you do that, and then you got, I get what he's saying, cause I'd be mad if I was Mickey too. Taking care of everything and all the work she does, and she's only $2 an hour more than the person we're hiring.
But all the captive workforce sitting over there that we can't use.
So let me ask, are we starting all our employees at a baseline of $20 an hour?
No, it seems like we're
Basically,
I don't know, are we? I can't say off the top of my head if we are, I think we need Tanya to answer that.
I can't talk what other departments, but I know that everybody we've had has been over that $20 when we started.
law enforcement's way over that.
What about our dispatchers?
I don't know.
I don't know.
What about our jailers?
You want me to look?
Look that up and, yeah, but there again, if we rehire there and it's always, we can't hire somebody, they're getting driven up whether we like it or not.
Well, I got dispatchers and jailers are differential money too in it all. So
Yeah.
shift work.
Yeah,
It's only $1, right?
I,
They're getting $20 an hour at McDonald's and Fargo's.
I know, but at the same point, I do have to say, I'm all in favor of looking at performance and longevity and how long Nikki has been here and what she's proven. I don't even start some of my staff when we're looking at what they're doing. So when you're paying people out of desperation, you know, because you can't get anyone and they're in maintenance and you're doing, there's other ways that you can go about that from a, you know, yeah, it's hard to find people right now, but I don't think the answer is, well, we just have to keep increasing. I mean, I would rather we look at ways to continually reward those that are invested and have been here, and I'm referring more to Mickey than I am saying we're just gonna desperately throw a huge number out there and then maybe not get quality just because, you know, it can take time to get good people, but we should be investing in trying to keep that good people instead of.
The trouble with our market value and everything else, we always go by market value, but the person that works their butts off and everything else. We never really reward them in the county, it's, they get their cost of living and they get their step. So if you really do a great job. If you're sitting on your butt, you get the same as this guy, because you get your step and your raise, your COLA.
But no, that's how we have made the policy to do
Yep.
it. And, you know, we're going down a slippery slope when we start
I get that.
changing, oh, you're, you know.
Yeah.
And then,
I agree, Karen, I mean, we have a step driven. Plan.
Yep.
So if you are doing your job and you're doing it well, you earn your step. If you are not doing your job, you do not earn your step. You should not earn your step.
yeah,
I mean, that's how it's supposed to work.
and the department heads should be saying, then you don't get a step if you're not.
You don't get your increase. if
And
you're
that's
doing
not,
your
that
job.
doesn't happen very often, let's face
I
it.
don't even know if it's
But-
happened ever,
Well, it
you know,
should,
it should.
it
Yes.
should, because that's what drives
Yes.
people to do their
Yeah.
jobs and do them
Yeah.
well. Because that is kind of like a performance base.
Yeah.
You know, that step should not be a given automatic raise. It's if you're doing your job and you're doing it well, you get it. So that's kind of your performance based. You know,
Since I've been here, I don't know if any department has ever said that I'm not gonna give this person because of her performance. I can never.
I think we have, Ernie, I am,
It's not.
Very few
it's
then.
never happened.
well, I,
I don't remember her.
Yeah.
And if it does, I approach it, but you know, everybody, cause they're in a rock and a hard spot and they don't, remember Lauren, you used to always say, well, I don't wanna do that.
then you're not doing your
then-
job. Then you're not doing your job.
Exactly.
You can't always be the popular one.
Okay, let's go back to Jason's.
One other thing with her support for Mickey's salary is before she started on, I can give you a copy of this if you want. And the 2020 and 2021 budgets, we were paying Bonnie's cleaning service over $35,000. Plus they were getting paid by regional council and social services. So they're making over $40,000 for that position. That's money that we're not spending towards anything right now. So I just want to put that aspect out there for it as well. But that's money that's not going out. So that's that one. So, You got that spot?
Jason, can I just, Christie would like to say something.
So you were wondering on dispatch starting, hourly, it's, a dispatch 1 in training is $19.45 for step 1. A dispatch 2 fully trained starts at $20.05 an hour is step 1. There's any other, there's some as low as $17. But the majority of them are, step 1s are in the $20 range. And I can provide all that to you guys.
Those are our dispatchers,
Correct, yep, our current.
and they're currently at that. What step are they at when they're at $17?
There is not a 17 for
Oh,
dispatch.
I thought you said there was.
No. There's other positions in our salary
Okay.
schedule that are under the 19, but
Okay,
you guys specifically asked for dispatch and that was 1945.
Right, yeah, I was wondering if we have other employees, such as dispatch in the
Yes.
county that are earning less than
Yeah.
$20 an hour, because if we're gonna start a janitor at $20 an hour, I wanna know where our other employees are.
Our deputy auditor 1, that's a step 1, is $18.55. Extension admin is $17.78.
What was that one?
Extension admin assistant. Highway admin officers, step 1, of course, is $18.55 for a 1 and $19.70 for a 2.
I just thought of something, that extension one, is that what we pay our NDSU, cause remember, there's
two different.
two different levels there. How big did that's our share?
Yeah, I don't
They
think,
want to
I
make
think
it
it's done this way.
Okay,
I
just
think
so-
it's in a different screen, I can look.
Yeah.
Sarah.
But did you say that Tanya actually did her survey and said it would be $20?
Tanya is still working on it. She hasn't
Okay,
gotten to-
so we're getting
She
ahead
said
of
it started at $20.
We're getting ahead of ourselves.
So we're starting at the high, so yeah, this is the high numbers that. But she just felt like that's probably where we could end up, so then we start high, she said. Start with the 20, so.
Yeah, I guess I would not be in favor of starting a janitor higher than her deputy auditor.
Right.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's move on then.
Snow removal, we left that at the same as $15,000. Another one where Mickey has shined is when we started, if you look back in 2023 for our supplies and maintenance, our budget was $35,000. This year we're gonna request $12,500. She's being able to streamline things the way it does and supply and bring them in one place instead of everybody ordering one whole thing. So, furnace and AC repairs, we left that at $20,000. Last year we got lucky, moving forward, we had to replace lots of different components. It's, there's no telling what shows up with our furnace system. So buildings and ground improvements, left, put that at $100,000 request. Carpet in the upstairs of Chase, if we're pulling strands out of it, so that needs to be replaced. So the last time that they had a budget, and I'm working on an update estimate, was $65,000 for carpet for upstairs of the Chase building and social services.
Madam Chair, I thought we did flooring replacement, it never happened, you just had a bid,
Not social services,
but at some offices over at Chase.
no,
No, okay.
I'm gonna overlook that, but.
We delayed it.
the only carpeting that was, the only flooring that's been done is over at that admin. In hallways, that was done in their portions,
And social services is the only occupant on that second floor,
yes. Or is there only, yes,
so this would just be for their offices.
this is their floor.
And that'd be for the whole floor?
Yeah.
How many offices are even occupied over there? I mean, don't they have most of them working from home now?
It depends on the day, Ricky says there's anywhere from 4 to 7 people over there, but it's when you're going doing carpet or vacuuming and carpet and pulling strands out. It really doesn't matter how many people are up there, for the maintenance of it. The other thing I was looking at too is, if you look at how much money we get for income for probation, for theirs and what we get for regional council, I need to take a really good, big look at regional council's rent that they're paying to you and look at someone's to see what all we need to pay and what we don't need to pay over there. Regional council right now doesn't pay for any cleaning over there. They used to pay volumes. So they don't have to pay that anymore because we're doing it all. So if we're doing a lot of information and they got a whole floor and they're just only paying a little bit more than what probation is for a corner. That needs to be addressed. That floor, with that rent, you know, needs to come up.
Now, why weren't they charged for cleaning?
Then one with our on staff, so we don't, I don't know.
You should have been charged for cleaning at that time.
We better keep moving, you guys.
So that's that supplies, the business grounds miscellaneous, we're left at 0. The phone left at $900 and capital outlay left at 75,000. That 75,000, part of that could be the survey for all the grounds for the proposed jail too. So we have that mapped out for our future references. We go to the next page.
So just wait, so if we take that carpet out of there, your total would be 226, right?
Yeah, about that.
It'd be less than last year's then.
Yeah.
So most of it's the carpet then.
Yeah.
So on the county park total, that's salaries. 52,600.
Mhm. That's what the steps.
That's what part-time. Where are you jumping ahead? Jenny?
No, we're still on the same page.
Yeah,
Mine's
but we haven't covered that yet, right?
No, that was the next one.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't say page because we have different, so say next one.
What Christie's just said, so. Account 4510.001, salary for the caretaker, county park. This is what it would be with the step and the 2%, is that 30,600. Not necessarily saying she's going to get the step, it's just there, it depends on performance like you guys were talking about. So just want to put it in there, salary, extra labor, that's the same, it's got the step into it, where it's calculated out with 22,000. Without the county park, is the phone the same, at $2,100. The utilities, we left that the same at 20,000. The equipment maintenance supplies, we left that at 10,000. Unemployment workers comp, we left that at the, we left that at $10,000. The new equipment for items, we moved up to 1,000, just because if the way that if one of those drills goes down that she has for one of those drills, so it'll cost us $200 per machine. And then miscellaneous expenses at 15,000. So with that, we're $110,700 for county park expenses. On average, it looks, by my going back, it looks like the county park brings in $20,000 a year. You know, we're streamlining some things now, so it's easier to record and track that information. But we're just putting that out there that operating the county park is basically a guaranteed loss. And I don't see how to increase the revenues out there to make it where you're going to actually make money on a county park. It's a service. We can't build any more campgrounds in, but you can't do anything like that. So it's basically be trying to get something from the firewood, which we're doing differently this year, trying to get a little bit more money for that stuff, like we talked about there. But that's, I guess, the kind of where it goes from the park.
Well, if we made the park bigger, it wouldn't matter, there's more expenses, more, you know, so
Right.
it just is what it is.
Madam Chairman,
Yes.
I have a question on 4510-022, what is that under? I'm looking at last year, so the request is 10,000. We changed that last year from 15,000 to 2,500, what is that for? What's retirement, unemployed work call,
Yeah.
Benefits.
benefits?
No, the 2510 is what's been spent year to date. Last year, the adopted was 10,000.
Oh, we did 10, okay.
Okay. Any questions on that?
I have one more question on the extra labor. I thought we had less now with her daughter not being there.
That's, we have, her daughter is still doing some time there, but not a lot. We're working on keeping the overtime and everything down, but this is making sure that we're there. It's also making sure you have staff. Sometimes we end up sending a couple of our highway staff out there to use some weed whipping and stuff too. And then that gets billed to, we haven't done that this year, but in
Okay.
years past we have.
Okay,
I thought, we
well,
haven't done it this year. We haven't sent anybody out there for that stuff.
weed whipping should be included in their duties.
It is.
Okay,
We, we had an issue with some overtime a couple of weeks ago and we addressed it already. Very little, but.
Yeah.
So he's on top of it.
She's been, they've done overtime, I told her she couldn't have overtime, and then overtime again, I told her she still can't do overtime, and then I wrote her. So
Okay.
she's been written up for allowing overtime, and it's done, so.
thank you, Jason. You can track that.
So the next one, should we do road and bridge? The road, right on, the next one, and the, yeah, 2002. Fund. That was on yours now, right, Jason?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The 2002 dash 40201.
Yeah.
The, what's listed there for the 85,848 would be the salary plus the steps and forwards. The next one for the salary for clerk, that was for, we brought in some help to do scanning and different items. We're looking at dropping that, $5,000 to, from 10,000 to 5,000. Tammy is doing is taking on some of that scanning and doing those different things now. She's putting that into her duties, so we'd be moving some of our paper trails back onto it. One of the things we've also addressed was brought up at a commission meeting, if it wasn't in the general fund, if we could find a salary bump inside our own budget, that it'd be able to be looked at. So I'm looking at moving Tammy's salary to 59,624 over the steps.
I don't recall that being brought up. Who brought that up?
Ernie brought it up at the last commission meeting, that if it
Wasn't
wasn't.
we talked about it last year too?
So Ernie, you're saying that within departments, if they can find it within their own budget, they can go ahead and increase their employee salaries without going through Tanya and the HR process and the market survey?
We just put it there. It's not for sure, but I just look at all the performance again. And we used to have two people down there. There's one, she's doing FEMA, she's doing the county stuff, the township stuff and everything else. I think she's underpaid.
And Tanya is working on a reclassification, working on stuff. I've asked her about this a long time ago. We haven't seen anything back from her. For her to see what we can do for her on the market and everything.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess I think we need to clear this up right now. Are you guys all okay with this, that we're going off of the market survey and we're just gonna start kind of picking salaries out of the hat now?
When you talk about reclassification, I think that, I mean, I look at that for Mickey too, if you can reclassify positions so that they, but you have to.
If Tanya can do that,
Right.
And it's all based on Tanya. It's not, cause I told him right away, I said, if she can reclassify her or whatever, I said, I'm all for it.
But the information you're giving us has not been based on what Tanya has
No.
done.
It's a conversation that Tanya and I have done, but Tanya has not gotten to it. She is, the conversation she and I had last week when I had to have this meeting, and she still hasn't gotten to it. I still haven't seen the person she and I spoke last week.
Well, we can get that.
Yeah.
We're not done here, so, I mean,
This is,
I'm sure Tanya's not just sitting there, you know,
Right,
she's got lots of budget
Yep.
stuff now, so.
Yeah.
and lots of homies.
And we can always go down. So I said,
Yes.
put it in there and we see what happens.
Okay,
employee benefits, we left that at 79,000. It's been working, so why change it? The travel for the road and bridge, left that at 2,000 from last year. The gas, oil, fuel for road and bridge, left that at 110,000. The utilities, just because the utilities go up, we jumped that up with just a couple of $1,000 to $62,793.15. Organizational dues, we left that at 2,000. Telephone, we left that at 18,500. Office supplies, we left that at $5,000. And the new equipment loan, we left that at $200,000. With that said, with that $200,000, that already covers basically our regular payments that we have for loans existing, so. 4012, 028. Make sure that's the page. Shop supplies, we left that at 20,000. Miscellaneous, we left that at 15,000. The equipment repairs, we jumped that up to $18,000. We'll have repairs on one of our trucks that'll oversee that this year alone. The road repair, we left that at $10,000. The bridge and maintenance, we left that at $50,000. The culverts, we increased that to $60,000 because we had a lot more showing up that are failing. 20% to road and bridge to the cities. We increased that to 5,500 just because we were in the red on that stuff in the past. By a couple $100, and the capital outlay, we left at $20,000. We'll have to do some items on shops for installation and some updates on doors. That puts us at $828,265.15. We increased about 32,000. Any questions on 2002?
Okay, so this is the bridge.
Yeah, yep, and then, so I'll put all these back in your guys' binder in the right spot, so just you can set them aside and try to keep it. Yeah, no, we're good.
So for 2003, 4012, the highway distribution fund. We're not sure what that first one was for, so we left that at 0. The next one is Eric Knudsen. His step in 2% takes him to 62,736. Logan Michalik at 57,012. Danny Vian, 59,100. The next one is a duplicate. That one isn't in our line, so we crossed that one out.
I did too.
So 005 will be Bobby Schatz. He's at 50,316. The next one would be Jeremy Praska, 53,400. Tyrone Denault, 53,400. Cliff Stika, 71,352. George Midwell, 55,836. Bob Rosvet, 59,100. Employee benefits, $466,050. Salary for Stewart Sports, 68,796. Steve Carrier, 55,680. Ryan Kelber, 74,484. Jerry Hodney, 80,616. I'm not set on him getting his pulse, getting the step. We're having issues with performance with him and getting things done. He's been written up as well. So just put that up there for you all. Dean Thompson, 58,224. Utilities at 10,000. Part-time help is, which we've never counted out before, is $77,760. That's for our summer seasonals. Workman's comp, 20,000. Overtime, $215,000. That's the number we separated out in the past. Shop supplies, 5,000. Miscellaneous expenses, 12,500, and capital outlay, 20,000. So altogether, it brings out 1.686362.
Madam Chairman,
Yes.
are these salary increases the steps?
Yes.
And the COLA.
Okay.
Jason, how come shop miscellaneous went up so much, or am I reading? 2,000 to 12,000,
No, miscellaneous expenses.
or miscellaneous expenses. Sorry.
That's, we have some trucks that just show up with items.
Like,
Equipment repairs,
okay,
it's pretty much just equipment
and how
repairs.
about capital outlay that went up
That'll
to?
be more for some red door replacements, lock door replacements, instead of putting all of them into one budget, they're kind of separated out between multiples.
Where did overtime go before?
It was all out of salaries and things that were honestly were tracked out. We found that with Tammy and working and stuff and me looking and stuff, and it was also part of benefits and stuff, so it was never tracked before. This is considering a really rough winter, because to for all the guys being like 10 hours overtime, which I don't want to do. So, but.
And the part-time help, that was in another budget line?
Finding a lot of changes with this new system.
I mean, with that overtime, you could hire 4 guys at 50,000, but I mean, I know that doesn't necessarily
It doesn't
work.
benefits, but yeah.
Right,
Yeah, if we could, we would, you know, but,
or even 2.
Yeah.
right. Yeah,
Nah,
but
Yes.
go ahead. So the part, or the overtime, or no, part-time help was coming out of the benefits line, so out of the 013. And it is a nightmare to have, all salaries coming out of benefit line, so after, the 3 of us visited, we decided to switch it, so that's the fund that was coming out of.
So do we know what we spent on part-time help last year, so we know the difference between last year and this year?
Yeah.
No, we should be able to break that out, that's why it'll be nice to have it broken out.
this breakout is also looking at, so in the past, we paid 16, so this is figuring $18 an hour for summer seasons, so it's significantly more in there too. So, like $2 an hour more. This last year, we hired all 5 kids that applied. We're just at $16 an hour for the work that we're doing, we're just not getting applicants for it. Try and get stuff out there and we're just not getting applicants for it. There's kids that would rather sit in the air conditioning, making more money, but not guaranteed the hours other places, so. It's getting tough, plus we have the stipulations where you have to be 18 workforce, so we can't take a 16-year-old kid that is growing up on a farm that knows how to, was better on equipment his entire life.
Willing to work.
And will work, we can't hire them. So by the time we get to them, a lot of those kids are already working for farmers and, you know, making more money. And so, pretty much stuff for college kids. Also, something we hadn't done in the past is Tanya provided me when we were doing our hiring process, a sheet called the value of your benefits. So I went through and checked and totaled up all of our annual gross earnings for the salaries of all these general. Just for the full-time employees, we're at $860,000.52. That's the salary. That's not including their benefits. Once we get their benefits, we're at $1,220,744.75. That's just to have the lights on. That's not moving a wheel or doing anything. So we understand that we are the heavy movers of, heavy costs for the department.
The benefits are almost 50% of the salary.
42%.
42.
Is what the calculation comes up.
We offer a good benefit package.
Yeah, well, that's what we.
And that's also figuring that everybody's on a family plan. Well, not all my guys are on a family plan, but so that'd be the top end of it. So that's where I got the benefits package for the tallies from too. I'm going to be working on this more in the future to get a better grasp of everything. So we'll have more of a fine-tuned number. I just want to let you know that that's something that we've started to from all our radio stations and trying to figure out what are our actuals and where we can track it and what we can do. So we're still working on things, putting in some more ideas. Christie has ideas, but this is a good start. So.
Any questions on that? Yes.
Another thing that just, that miscellaneous expense, how it went up, that $10,000. That was, some of that stuff was getting paid under that 0132, that 013 fund number was paying, I mean, drug testing, advertising for, job ads, I mean, it was tons of stuff, so after talking to, downstate, the highway department, we just decided any of that miscellaneous stuff needs to get out of the employee benefits, so we know what it is, so
It's al-
that's part of where that too.
it's also our travel for going to send you
Yes.
guys to trainings.
Yeah,
That was all going into my one training, so.
it was a nightmare during the payroll stuff, oh my
I can
gosh,
imagine.
not, so after, that's part of the increase of the 10,000 is.
Yeah.
We're just moving funds.
Yeah. So we'll have a better track. Next one, 2005, 012.
Or 2004.
2000.
Missed it.
Yeah.
Alright, there you go. 2004, 4013, that match up here. Yes. 001, construction asphalt. Move that to $250,000. This would be for our crack sealing, items that we do and the labor for those portions, materials, the material prices are going up. For purchasing those. So this is all 4 semis with the material. The maintenance to chip seal, that's $700,000. That's what we're using the numbers from this year to figure out what it would cost us to do a chip seal on number 9 and 12. Engineering salaries or fees, move that up to $110,000. Just the way that things would go. Gas, oil, fuel, we move on that to $240,000. It's going up. The new loan, $200,000. What this portion is for 2 items. One, our fuel tanks, our fuel pumps and our live master that we use for controlling out how we do our sales to emergency management and all the other departments. It cannot be updated. It is dead. There's nothing we can do except replace it. I've been working with to get estimates what it costs, and from the phone conversations I've had and the emails back and forth, we're looking at about $100,000 to replace our 4 pumps, our gas and our diesel fuel here in Grafton, our gas and diesel fuel in Park River, and then the control centers in between them. So just to replace them would be $100,000. In the past, we've had me take a look at doing a contract in Uptown. That is gonna save us 5 cents a gallon for whatever your price tag is on the pump. That's all you'll get. When we buy the tankers, we're saying the lowest difference we've had between buying the tanker and the fuel price is 75 cents a gallon cheaper. So it doesn't pay not to do that. Otherwise, our budgets for fuel and that will really go through the roof. The other issue that we get with doing the contracts is trying to get a motor grader into Simonson's.
Yeah.
Put all those back, or our semis in there to do these different things. If you go to Schumacher's, they're not open on weekends.
Yeah.
So you're pretty much limiting yourselves to only going to.
You have to get a couple, 3
But you have to
different
get
contracts.
Right, we've been multiple contracts, and from talking to people, the most you get is 5 cents off the phone.
Well, if we're saving 70 cents a gallon between the two of them, it ain't gonna take long to pay for it.
Right.
I didn't realize it was that much.
If in the future we can upsize our fuel tanks and not now, but in the future, where we can take a full tanker at a time, it'll save us, because right now we split a tanker between Grafton and Park River when we buy gas and diesel fuel. So we're waiting until we get to about that 500 gallon mark before we order fuel. So if we have more room, we can take a full tanker in both locations and not do a split delivery, so that can bring down our costs as well. So that's just something that we're talking about looking at for the future, not now, but we have to start with the pumps. Last year, one of our pumps went down and it took them 1 month to find that part. And then it took them 2 trips to come fix it because the part didn't quite work and then it had a leak, so we had to shut it back down on that, so.
So who helps you work on that stuff, like Ryan or?
On the fuel pump stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
O'Day does it and Valley Petroleum do the tanks, Stuart and I.
Okay, Stuart.
Yeah,
Okay. I
Stuart
just
and I,
wondered.
Stuart does the fuel.
Okay.
He does all the purchasing of fuel.
Okay.
We used to do that in-house in the office
Yeah.
with Tammy and Kelly,
Yeah.
but. You know, Stuart was calling us and asking us when to get fuel. We just talked to Stuart and said, if you're comfortable doing it, you just do it.
Yeah.
And get your prices for these bids from the companies. and for it, so.
Yeah.
And Stuart was more than happy to take that part on, so Stuart does that for that portion.
Madam Chairman, I have a question. So, last year I had fuel pumps written next to a new equipment loan for that 200,000, and I see what was this year used, I mean. It was at 150,000, but 231, 257 was what was it used for this year? We didn't do fuel pumps. So that wasn't planned, okay.
Well, the motivators were planned, but with what we had, the prices went up for the options, so we had motivators, we also had to buy last year we bought the ditch side mower, which wasn't planned because one was, it was shot. Most counties replace their ditch side mowers every 7 years. We replace ours, the last one we replaced is 20 plus. We run it till it's dead, we probably should have replaced it years before, but.
What is that computer system we go? Remember for the checking
Yeah,
out?
and that's the other one I want, the other thing is for this new is, looking at purchasing a computer system that I can use at Hami. I can use it for buildings and grounds, and I can use it for the highway guys. And this computer system will track all of our vertical and horizontal infrastructure. So for like our buildings, they'll be able to track what color paint we used, where it was used, how many gallons was used, the floor coloring, the flooring that it was, and be able to track all that history for that room. Every time we do maintenance on the room, we'll be able to track it to it. Every time we do maintenance on the fuel pump, it'll track. There'll also be the same program that can track all our equipment repairs, all of our bridge repairs, all of our culverts, show them where they are, and all the information to it. And we can use it to get a better grasp on our culverts, and we can basically get back up into doing inspections of our culverts, so we can triage them. Are we an emergency risk for replacing this one or not? So we get a better grasp of where we're at for our inventory for culverts, and we get a better grasp of where we're at for projects, and be able to track everything through that. I'll also be able to use that program for scheduling work to the guys. So they'll be able to put it on a calendar and say, this is what you're doing this week. And then you're doing, if something comes up, it's easy just to grab it and move the calendar and change it around. So like the Adams Bridge that came up. We just move everything else down and move that, but it'll give us a lot more tracking abilities and most things. It'll be able to track all our budgets and everything in there. So it also should be able to make this annual report much easier for us to get involved. You should be able to just have reports that we have built and ready to go. That'll give you stuff with more stuff in time and tables and not just the numbers and spreadsheets and things that we have. So it should make us a lot more.
Do you have that in your budget or?
I'm working on it, but that's right now, the last price I got was $100,000.
And is that for like a program to put in what you have or?
Yeah, we take off it's a new system, we don't have one.
Oh, you don't have.
We do not have a program right now that does any of this. Right now, we are paper. So this will take our paper and put it to digital, and we'll be able to track all the history that Tammy is scanning. We'll be able to tap that to the bridge. So if the guys are out in the field, they'll actually be able to open it up from a phone and be able to see what was done on that one. They'd actually be able to pull up the plan of the bridge if they wanted to, if we got to put in there.
Okay, well.
Can we track our inspections on the bridge?
So you track our
That's what
inspections.
I'm curious about, so we know what goes on there.
Yep.
Yep.
Well, you just bring that to us then and
And I didn't mean that computer system, I was talking about the one that Stuart uses to fix our trucks, I said.
that's what I thought.
Oh.
Yeah, and I mean, that, I don't know where it is in here, but to me, that saved us a lot of money.
Well, that was out of our new equipment. We
Okay.
spent $6,000 on
Okay.
it. We do minor adjustments, but it has saved us a lot. We're not having to take a lot of our trucks down to bills for things. You can do a lot of stuff with them. We do a lot of stuff in house. It saved us probably about $200 an hour on the trucks. When you're having to drive it down there and back, we don't have to send 2 guys down to get them and bring them back.
Okay.
So it saved us a lot, but yeah, that computer program that we did, but they purchased that. And then, our tractor leases come out of that new equipment budget, because we don't purchase them, we just lease them from John Deere. It's much cheaper to lease them through the John Deere County program than it would ever be to purchase one. Even with the loader tractors, it's much cheaper.
I can't believe we're leasing that cheap.
I'm sorry, Jason, I keep looking at the clock because I was thinking that it was noon and I'm like, we're way ahead of schedule, so.
That's good to push them.
Well,
The next one is 2005 4012.021 gas, fuel, oil. Up that to 25,000 just because fuel prices keep going up. Graveling, we moved that to 180,000. So you get a little bit more gravel. Equipment repairs, 35,000. Bump that 10,000. Repair and maintenance for the county, bump that to 20,000. Sign maintenance, we up that to 35,000, with Dean going and slowly working on that, we're finding their costs are gonna be going up a little bit more on there. The county road, or the bridge maintenance, we up that to 60,000, so the full request was 355,000, for it, and that one gets capped out at the 5 mils, so if just the pie in the sky, this is what it looked like for it, but when 5 mils comes in, that's all we get for it, so values have to be tallied down to that 5 mil.
sure.
So Jason, gas, fuel and oil,
Yes.
you bumped it from 10 to 25,000, so that's over 50% increase, right? I mean, has it gone up that much? We're looking at what, 60% increase?
Right now, we're about 30 cents a gallon more in our diesel fuel than last year, and for next year, I don't know, hopefully it doesn't go up, but I hope it doesn't go up. Or I just don't want to be the negative on it either, because then we have to start cutting on other things. I'd rather have a little bit more and have one extra tanker in there than not, because a tanker, one tanker was $24,000. So, you know, that's basically at 25,000 bids for one tanker.
Yeah, I mean, I get wanting to have a cushion, I understand that, I'm just a little concerned because I keep paging here and I'm looking at all your different increases and we're talking increase 14% on the budget, increase 4%, increase 30%, increase. I mean, another increase of 15%, here's another increase of 24% from last year, I mean, we're talking big dollars here. So I just want to make sure that.
Well, on this one, if I would have known what the mill value was, I could have capped it out at 5 mil. But I don't know what the mill value is. So I could have worked with it. Highway distribution fund, that's all tax money that come from the state for fuel taxes and registrations, all those different little components. So that's, all those are coming out of, you know, the mills and other funds, not the 1,000. They're not the general fund.
Yeah.
So my biggest increases I know are outside of the general fund.
Okay.
I understand it.
Okay.
But I also know that for road and bridge, we're capped at that 30 mils. So that's all we get. And we have, whatever we get for it, then afterwards, then I play around, seeing what's gonna go to where and we're actually gonna get it.
Okay.
The actual, actually getting $700,000 for a chip seal probably isn't gonna happen out of these budgets that I'm requesting. It's probably gonna have to come out of it when we get to create that money or other items. That's just for those bigger projects, I take it, and that. These are gonna be more of our small, or blade patches and pieces like that we have to do after going through stuff, so.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just sitting here thinking, where are we gonna get this money?
Yeah, no, with that one, it'd be pretty easy to drop, that, with where it fits in. If I end up going right back to the chip seal money from before, well, that's 350,000.
Okay.
The trouble with and I know it's a lot of money, but just think of those couple bridges and that other one, that County 9 project, how it dropped, what is it, 170, 200,000, then what the estimate was? How do you play that into a budget? That's the trouble, you go high and hopefully it drops and we luck out it did, one big rainstorm and we blow it. Or snowstorm.
Well, I really feel right now when you look at the news for the bridges, they had a railroad, in the last week, we've down in South Dakota, we lost a main transportation railroad bridge, 4 other bridges in Minnesota are gone.
Yeah.
And sadly to say, but it'd be very easy for that to happen here. I don't want. I don't want.
Yeah.
I hope we never have to deal with it. I hope that the water board is able to take care of their stuff that they need to do with it before we get to that.
This morning. Down here.
The last page is income items. For interest. Tammy and I looked at this more and. I talked to Christine, I said, we're not sure where it comes from. Where these match up, and we've been looking at it yesterday and more again today, and we don't see. We're not exactly sure how the program tracks it compared to how we track it, so that's something we're gonna have to work on. Because if you go to page 15 of our income statement, what we have in the year, we have an income of $310,000. But if you look at these numbers that are coming up through the program, it's, I'm not sure. We definitely, what it really gets us is sales special orders. Of $175,000. We don't have any sales or special orders of anything like that. We don't buy culverts for people. We don't, the most we've ever done is buy, so if someone comes in and they want a specialty sign, a road sign or something like that, we'll order for them those and they get them back to us. Those things go for the most of $100 each. So we're not sure where that $175,000 came from.
This wouldn't have anything to do with the townships, you purchasing anything for the townships?
We don't purchase anything
You
from
don't?
townships.
Okay.
Townships are on their own. It gets to be too difficult to get the townships to pay back. So, and there's the issue that something came up with sales tax in the past because we would have to charge sales tax and we just don't even mess with those things. So we don't buy anything for townships. We supply them with who we're getting our bids from and let them know that and let them take care of their own items. So, the townships, we'll do the snow removal for the weed. We'll do a little bit of waiting for a township every now and then, not very often, because most of the time our guys are busy in our stuff. Most of the time, if we go onto a township road, it's because we get a detour on like maybe that's probably 15 miles.
So do you think before the final budget, you'd have maybe some answers on for
Hopefully.
these numbers?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe.
Because it's a big number.
Yes,
So the description might be outdated, but these numbers are the numbers that we're getting from the highway department. So 3321, so that's sales special orders, the items that happened, the 175,000. The line number was drain 98 and drain 87. And then drain 97 invoice 100.
Reimbursements.
Candy machine money, courthouse, job 2, Adams store, candy machine money, one other time. So that's, if we need to change the description to fit what you guys use it for better, I mean, this
Okay.
probably is.
Yeah, so most of that stuff would be for all drain stuff. That's why the number is so crazy high, is because when we did the cost share items with the water board to make things right, we had to bill them and they had to bill us, and then everything came on the wash afterwards. So we had to give everybody the same bills instead of just doing a handshake for accounting.
Can't you just label drain reimbursement or
You
something?
got candy machine in there.
Yeah, I mean, we
That's
can, yeah,
not a lot.
we can create as many funds as we
Yeah.
need
Well,
to
I
keep
think
it.
now we just know where it is. So it's just that we're tracking it the same, and that's just something we'll take care of on our end. That'll be easier.
Yeah,
Put a parenthesis drains or something, so we remember.
yeah, so whatever you guys want it to
Yeah.
be, so whenever we receive money and we have to receive it into a revenue, even though it's not necessarily revenue, so.
Right.
It's unfortunate, some of that stuff, when we're getting reimbursed, it can't go hit the expense account, but,
Kind of more like an in-out fund then.
yeah, but
Transfer.
these funds aren't that way, so you can't
Mhm.
think like the employee appreciation. It's way over budget, but it's not,
Mhm.
so.
Yeah, I think it's in the last one, there was that 40, there's that 2, after those incomes is the 2010 4311-001 miscellaneous road fund expense. That's our fund.
Your what?
In and out bond account, where it comes in and out for the bond. We had up to from 200 to 300,000, just because of this, delays of some of the equipment, different things that are coming through. Just for instance, out of curiosity, I asked for a quote on a new tandem truck with the snow equipment on it with a rock box. I almost fell over when they told me about $350,000. Not looking for anything, it was just the snow equipment and a after wool for doing that was 350,000.
Yes.
So, Jason, that you said that fund, the 4311,001 is an in and out account, so if literally you get money, it's a lot. So that shouldn't be an expense account, then we should change that to a liability account then.
Works for me,
Okay,
because that's what I've always been told, that's just the bond account where it's just.
okay,
it's
yeah.
wash.
Yeah, so that shouldn't be part of the budget then. I don't feel.
It makes sense to me.
What is big purchase that one? Equipment?
So keep paying for our motor graders right now, the big equipment expenses right now, honestly, will just be the program and, the new program and fuel pumps, and then maybe another, we can find another used, bid that more, or replace our like year-old one, and nice to upgrade that. And the other thing we've talked about from within the guys, looking at possibly, we'll have to see where it comes down for budget wise, but possibly replacing a couple of pickups.
Your what?
Pickups. We have, most of our pickups are half-ton pickups. Where we're pulling trailers and the equipment we have, we're just beating up those pickups, we shouldn't be running 3/4 tons or 1 tons for some of our stuff. And we don't need them all to be that, but we should have more than the 3 or 4 that we have. Yeah, a couple of our pickups are 1980 models with 4, like a gas 460, which makes it easier for us to be on it, but. It's also needed in the summer, so some of those items we don't have to really worry about, but. We had a lot of pickups that are in their 80s. The other thing we're talking about is the purchase of an additional snowboard. So we have 2 to put on behind the tractors. So when we get to, this last winter wasn't an issue, but the winter before, that we could have one in Lincoln. So we can go out into 19 where with the big pileups, we'd have be able to take that tractor out there. We have the tractor that's in Park River. And of course, we have the Oshkosh Uni Grafton. That would just get us spread out a little bit more with the equipment and let them be able to go after it a little bit more. If the PM project for Manitech goes, we'll absolutely have to have, without any question, another snowboard sitting in Lincoln. If it goes with that option 3, doesn't mean nothing else, we can do, we'll have to have a snowboard in Lincoln regardless to clean that road. Because it will be a problem. It is guaranteed. I reached out to one of my old coworkers at Parks and Recreation, we used to do all the maintenance up at Monty. And I asked them before and after, what was the difference? They spent a lot more time there, it was a lot more of a problem.
Rental agreement.
I ran to here, and it's a state park.
I can see it.
And I can see there because you're 25 mile an hour, but you're in a park, in a state park. But we're talking a totally different beast for Massachusetts and County 14 and 55 mile an hour and coming from the south going off of the hill into a blind curve. I'm not being able to see that. You're either
Absolutely.
we're looking at problems. If they make the first curve, whether they make the second, or they end up in the lake, or they hit the spillway, that scared, that design just scared me 100%.
We're not engineers.
What happens if the ones I have, all get really ice on that road?
Well, we're going to get ice, and that's the other thing that in my letter to them is we're gonna get ice and we have to increase the salt that we don't do right now, which is gonna increase the likelihood of putting salt into the ecosystem.
Yeah. Yes.
And we're gonna have to salt it more, so we're gonna speed up the concrete dam. If they leave it on top, leave the spillway where it is, we won't have those.
So,
Any other questions for me?
how about this data sheet? What do we, what's?
I was just showing you guys what was anticipated from the state, that's what the state gave. Sent us. So it shows like the prairie dog was anticipated in that. So.
So what did you use? I'm just curious, you know, we've talked about that, you know, our health insurance costs most likely will increase, but Christie, is everybody using the same across the board or what are we doing?
I don't think there's been any direction on what anybody's been doing.
So are we just using what you pay now? Or how did you budget for health insurance increase?
For me, what I did is I used the benefits package that Tanya had and basically put in the family plan and then took all the total for all the benefits for that. I had no other idea of how to split that out to do it. I don't know, like I said, it's not gonna, without going to every employee and writing down what everyone has and figuring it out. I don't have that, readily available to me. I'd have to request, but in the future, I'm gonna have to, almost have to know that portion for the budgeting so we can figure out these benefits and those things. Or the cost of health insurance, I have no idea, so I'm hoping I got a number of going forward. Have a distribution, I guess the only benefit I have is that the only person that comes out of general fund are Mickey, part-time staff, that like Elizabeth that's helping me right now, and Tommy. Everybody else is out of Highway distribution fund or road and bridge funds, where it's not general fund money. So, all the guys are Highway distribution funds, so there's a little bit more wiggle room in that.
On there.
Did we get any numbers, health increase?
Nothing yet. Number yet.
Well, to me, I guess I would have liked to have said that we did like a 7 or 8% increase across the board, just because it's gonna go up, but we don't know how much. Is it gonna be 5%? It's gonna be 10%.
Yeah.
But it's not going down, it's going up.
The best I can do is that value benefits number and just try to do that, see what all the benefits were and through that number and hold it.
That's our.
And the reason we went with that plan, it wasn't gonna go up.
We've had one meeting with the insurance committee and stuff too, so. We're waiting.
Any more questions for Jason?
What was your total increase on everything?
Um,
Did you have that or no?
$874,630.
You know what?
$874,629.15. But when you say some will get capped out for the mill, and without that value, I just put in what it was. I'm actually expecting it to be less than that. But, probably about half of that.
Okay, we're gonna take just another 5-minute break too, so.
15% always.
And Joel wants a little more time with the soil conservation since historical society isn't here, so.
You said you could call the Historical Society up, right?
Daryl.
Daryl, he said he'd come up early if he can.
Well, till he gets here, I'll. show him a little. Thanks.
He said he was gonna check up.
So watching after. I guess this is on YouTube and so I don't know afterwards. And so you guys have some questions, you have questions of me. And also, I just have a question about the mill levy. It's my understanding, I could be wrong, it's my understanding though that the county receives the funds from mill levies, and then in turn, they give us the mill levy that we agreed with the taxpayers with, which was 2.5 mils. And that has been that number for a number of years. Agreed upon by the taxpayers that we would receive that. From my understanding from your conversation after we were gone, you didn't receive the full 2.5, is that correct?
Last year, you mean, Joel?
Well, any year.
I don't know, previous year, but no, last year was 2.24 mils. So,
Is there any particular reason why we don't receive that money?
legislation changed, a few years ago, and you can't budget on mill, you have to budget on the dollar amount. So how the mill is actually figured out, the number of mills required, how that is actually figured out is the dollar amount that you provide us. So that's protecting the taxpayers from saying, I want 5 mills, max it out, I don't need all that money, whatnot. So it is a max levy worksheet that I have to provide to the state based off of what you guys provide.
So we actually asked for only 2.24.
Correct, the dollar amount, yep, so we don't know what the value of the mill is right now. So once that's finalized, so if you guys did the 165,000 and say the mill went up $5,000, you guys would definitely not have that full 2.5 mils. You're not needing that within the budget. So that's how a mill is done. And then as far as it's an agreed upon, so each taxing district, so the soil conservation is a taxing district. So you guys are putting that on all of the, yeah, exactly. So you guys is the whole county, it's a county-wide levy, yes. So then that just comes right in and goes right out to you guys.
Right, okay. So whatever we asked for is the amount that you gave us.
The dollar amount, correct, yeah, the dollar amount, yep, the dollar amount that's figured, that you guys provided last year with the increase in the mill levy. It was,
A little bit higher.
yeah, the mill ended up increasing more
Yeah.
than what you guys anticipated,
Okay.
correct?
Another thing, Joel, when we ask for budget, and we should probably be more specific each time, and then we forget about this later, is when we ask for the budget and entities like you give us what the employees, that, you know, what the employees make, we get it in a lump sum, and we like to see the individual. We, like last year, we asked a couple, you know, what they're getting, and we should ask all of them, like the health district. JDA.
Why do you need to know that?
We're just wondering, and then it's public knowledge too, so the public would know about it.
Well, if,
Is that a requirement of law?
I'm not
Or
sure.
is that?
I guess the stewards of the mill, I'd like to know it so somebody isn't overspending and padding their budget or something. You know, you guys can make it and everything else, but we can still, we have the authority, we don't have to give you 4. We could say, oh, we're only gonna give you 2 if we see prices and salaries going way out of line. How do we control it if we don't have a way of knowing?
From what I understand, you can't control what if you give to us.
Well, yes, we can. You can, well, you
You can only control the dollar figure
Yeah.
that we
Well,
ask for. You
yeah,
can't control whether you give us 2.5 or not.
Century code dictates 2.5, right?
Right,
Yeah,
2.5 is all we can ask for.
yeah.
And if you ask for less than that, all we can get is what we ask for.
Mhm.
But you can't hold back funds that we would have asked for. is what
Right.
I'm trying to say.
Well, but, yeah, not if you ask for it, if you can prove it, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But we can, but if you're inflated, I take a GDE at times. And it's a different animal, but it's still, they got their own board and everything else.
So,
So if they're, let's say they got 500,000 in reserve. We used to pull back their mill levy just because they didn't do it to respect for the taxpayer. Do you need mill levy money if you got 500? And I'm just.
absolutely, but we don't have that.
No, I know, no, but I'm trying to explain it to you. That's where we have the authority to raise her up it, because I got chewed out by a lot of guys that want in years back, and I'm not saying it now. Why did you give them that much money when they got 5,000 in reserve? We as a county can only have so much reserve.
I think we are talking about two separate issues here, though, having a reserve and how much.
Well, right, but I just wanted to use it as a point, we can go up and down.
Right, but I think what Joel's asking is, and I think we're just curious as to what
Yeah.
people are making. Like we do get asked about the salaries of employees of different things, and I guess that's.
Our minutes are public,
Mhm.
all of our minutes are public, all of our, employees' salaries are public
Mhm. Yep,
in our minutes.
it's just nice to have it on our budget things.
When they ask us, so we have an answer to tell them.
It's just easier to.
It's already there already, so.
Yeah, but I guess that was gonna be kind of my point. If it's already there, why is it a big deal?
It's
to
not
show
a
it
big deal,
to-
it's not a big deal, I'm not trying to balk on it, I'm
No, no.
trying to ask you why you're asking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cause it's already public.
So one of the reasons I feel that we needed Joel is because you guys years ago did have to go to the public and ask for an increase in the mill.
Mhm.
And if the increase in the mills is simply to cover salaries so that we can increase salaries as a taxpayer, I'm not sure I'd vote for that. I mean, should our soil conservation district employees be making more than our deputies? You know, we have to try to keep some
Well,
balance, exactly, some balance here. I mean, those guys
So
put
are you
their
deputies
job,
being
those
paid?
guys put their lives on the line.
Except
what are your deputies?
Except two, I will say, they're using grants to cover those.
Not all of them.
Too.
Not all.
No, not all of them, I'm not saying that.
A lot of the mills has to go towards salaries, does it not?
No,
No,
no.
our biggest problem is the purchasing of trees and,
So where do you get the salaries? A $300,000 worth of salaries, if it's not coming out of the mills, where is it coming from?
Well, the 319,
That was only 135,000 and they only get 60%.
yep, I'm just saying that. out loud.
that's correct, we only get 60%. But 60% of probably close to, well, it's about $60,000, I'm guessing that we get for salaries. 60,000 of the 300, it's 297.
Mhm.
You know, that includes 3 full-time employees, one that's almost full-time, Norris. And then there's 4 other kids through the summer, plus another one. The guy isn't all summer. And a lot of their salaries, well, I just told you about 60,000, 65,000, somewhere in there. That's what we get from 319 Forest State salaries. So, in the future. And again, I brought up, they weren't gonna bring that up, I brought up this other grant. That you heard a little bit about, 5.7 million. I only brought it up. It has nothing to do with our budget at the moment. And it can't have something to do with our budget because we don't have the grant yet. We have like a 75%. I'm just making up numbers, approval. We don't have the final approval from USDA yet, but we have the approval from North Dakota, state of North Dakota, which is a really big deal. And the grant doesn't necessarily come from them, I think.
General Mills has a lot to do with this. The company General Mills has a lot to do with this grant. They're actually kind of was the instigator in all this. Actually, Josh is the instigator. Josh went to General Mills and then so this whole thing got started down there.
And hopefully it goes through, but like you said, there's a 75% chance of it going through, which means there's a 25% chance of it not going through. And I think that's what everybody needs to remember with grants is there's no guarantee until.
I
You
do
have
agree
it.
with you. We just received,
But you're not spending it either, so.
we're not, nothing of that grant is in here. We just received, this has nothing to do again with this, but he got us a $20,000 grant. Last week for naming the trees on the bike path finally,
For what?
for naming the trees on the bike path, putting stuff on the trees.
So was that in the budget?
No,
No, that.
Oh, I thought you
it's
said it
outside the
went through.
buffer.
I thought you said it went through.
It did go through,
Okay.
but it's not part of this, it's 20,000 in and out. Because it was, and it's up to 20,000, it's whatever the cost of you guys.
Applying for this grant, it's just.
Naming trees, has been a request of people since I started in 1989, and I've never had the names on the trees. And these names cost like $25 a tree. It's just ridiculous, but that's what it is. So a grant was given for that, and he went, pursued it. And he did it because it's in the world of trees and just promoting this idea of trees, so.
Don't take this wrong, but why can't we get a grant for the jail instead of naming a tree?
Well, it's two different things.
Well, I know, but
It's coming from two different.
I totally agree, Ernie, and I think there should be something out there for that,
Yeah.
but. there is-
And I'm glad you got it. Don't take that wrong. Like I said, don't take it wrong.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
You got,
Thank God he's looking for these
you got
grants.
another 25 for Grafton, another 25 for Park River. I mean, these are things that are really.
This, and kind of getting off of it now, but this General Mill grant really
It's 8 counties, by the way.
promotes helping all
Well,
this,
it'll
putting
help,
cover crop, all this blowing.
it'll help
It's,
this situation you
Yeah.
just talked about, the algae
Yes.
bloom.
yes, algae bloom.
So,
I guess, Madam Chairman.
Yes,
I guess today I thought our meetings were budget meetings. And I didn't feel like we had a budget that I could really look at,
so what
that
would
I
you
could
like to
tell.
see different?
Well, for example, I had no idea what he was using to base his mills on. I mean, he gave us a number. But he couldn't tell us, Brandon couldn't tell us what dollar amount he was using for the mill. So we need to know, like, what's your budget? What are you looking for funds? What do you need for funds for the coming year? And what are your expenses going to be? He gave us information and
It went up 13,500 for 2 years. I mean, he based it off of the previous.
but what went up, Joel? What went up?
We have no comparison.
Yeah, we did no comparison.
So.
So I don't know
we'll
what went-
provide comparisons for you next,
Yep, last year's, so we can look at them.
actually this year's and last.
Well, yeah.
See, here's part of the problem. This is June. And, I mean, you guys get that, but I mean, this is June and we haven't gone through 24 yet to give you 24. So we'll give you 23s for 25. Is that fair enough? And then try to give you the first half of 24.
yeah, yes.
I mean, that's all we can
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
Because I do agree with you. There should have been a second line on here.
Right, we should be able to see how much of a salary increase are we looking at? You give us a total amount and we have nothing to compare it to.
I
How do you,
understand, I understand.
so that's just one line I'm talking
It's
about.
hard to make a budget when you're not halfway through the year yet.
It
It
is.
is for everybody.
But everybody else
But
is
every-
doing it.
Yep.
Oh, I understand.
Yes, but everybody else is also using a number like they are.
We
For a
are
mill-
using a
for
number
mill.
from
Like,
before.
So
We
Jason
just
didn't
have
know,
that number. I'm sorry, I have it right here. if you
Jason
wanted
didn't
it.
know either,
I
so.
brought it with, in case you didn't have it.
Yeah.
So this is 2023, and that's why I was keeping those two years to kind of decide on,
Okay,
but I will do that from now on.
Before you leave, I would like to compliment you on that bike path to the trees and like signs on those trees will kind of finish that whole project off very nicely.
It'll make a
Yeah,
difference. Because I have about 200 different varieties of
Mhm.
trees. That's just trees. I have about 200 different varieties of bushes. And I have about, well, I always say the number 600, but it's probably like 700 or 800 different kinds of flowers. Different varieties of flowers.
It's a beautiful bike path.
it
So,
really is, and it's, yeah.
Too bad you have a four-wheeler path there now as well, sadly.
if you guys could talk to the city about that for me.
Yeah, they-
I've been right on the highway, but anyway.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Bill, for
Yeah, thank
clearing
you,
some of that up.
It's a nice outfit coming into Parker, I'll tell you, beautiful.
I think the name tags will make a lot of difference for people. By the way, I have two of everything. And so the reason I have two of everything is one tree will have the name and a number, and the other tree will have a number. And the reason for that is so that teachers can come and teach their
All the
kids
kids.
what they are. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Thank you, Joel.
thanks,
Okay,
Joel.
thanks.
Thank you for your time and thank you for the understanding.
Don't feel bad, we're still learning about this budget every year too.
No, actually, I knew about the two, but anyway, that's another story. We'll get back to you in the future.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Historical.
I'm gonna stop putting it away, so I don't even know where I am.
Yes, I can.
There ain't too many times I drive into Parker Village, somebody's not walking on that bike.
Oh, yeah, it's fine. It's very nice.
Either way, it's just.
Oh, we'll start when you get to it. Did you text him?
Here, cause that was.
Did you text him?
That's too. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, he should be there. But
We'll wait for him.
Last one.
Let's see.
Yeah, water board, this should be an easy one.
It's, there's that piece of cake down there.
Well,
I lost my.
we've had a few doozies already. We're gonna get ready for one, I think, in a week or two, yeah.
I think we'll adjourn the meeting till Larry gets here. We will have the Walsh County Historical Society's budget.
That's the hat I'm wearing right now. Thank you for giving us this opportunity.
Pink.
Or historic.
Is this pink?
It's actually the historical. And you've been presented with a letter to Madam Chair, I believe. And do you have the budgets there, the numbers?
Hold on just a minute, because.
And,
No, you left me in, that's okay.
You signed it. No, it's addressed to you.
Yeah. Well, you did, well, I guess we didn't have the right. Yeah.
Sure, yeah,
Yeah, the tab was on the wrong spot.
okay. Just an update for maybe people don't understand or know. The Historical Society is like our umbrella company, for lack of other words, and the Minto Museum and the Heritage Village fall below that. So the Historical Society really does not have a building or anything, but it's been, it was a long fought thing years ago to get the Historical Society to go and to be an entity. So it's showing some monies in here, and what that's for is, at times they distribute monies out to us if we have a bad roof or if something goes wrong. And excuse me for a moment, I do have Larry Gunderson. He is the Historical Society Treasurer and on the Heritage Board. And Shannon Brazil is here from the Minto Museum. And if you have any questions for those individual outfits, you'll be directed to them, would be great. I think at this time, are there anything that stands out or any questions on it? It's all, I guess in our request, in that letter, it's our request for the quarter mill and that $5,000 grant that has been given to us over the years. Very well appreciated. I think I will have each one of these speak in their respective areas as to maybe what we're doing out of the village. Christie, how much time do we have?
You're the last one. It's up to.
Don't tell me.
I get to keep Ernie from doing something.
Madam Chairman, can I ask a
Yes.
question on, in the letter, do you guys have, I don't know if you made it, but it says future projects for the museum include museum alive and then tuck pointing in the basement of main building.
That is, it is the mortar between the brick, because that building, the main building is all, brick. And we had the exterior tuck pointed, as it's called, or it's called chinking. And then where they take the old mortar out and they replace it, and it helps with the stability of the building.
Got it.
Okay. Stability, waterproofing, and looks too, otherwise you got chunks falling off.
Brick falling out,
Yeah.
Okay.
We have that under the courthouse.
I believe it, yeah. Thank you.
Okay, well, if, Shannon, do you wanna say anything about the Minto Museum other than that?
Well, it's been a really busy season this year already, lots of people going through. Next month, we're already starting to plan, we're gonna plan for Museum Alive. We've got a lot of collaborations now coming in. Just recently, Misty Cope, who's our music teacher in Minto, she's in charge of Frostfire now. She's doing production on, well, she's asked to collaborate with, both the museum and Heritage Village for helping with, set decorating and some other stuff, so. It's gained some traction. But it's one of where the biggest project this year that's gonna be accomplished right after July 4th is The gym is going to get a new roof. We're gonna go with metal and then new siding, because there is some asbestos siding. State came in, okayed our plan, and so that's all taken care of. But it's all gonna be accomplished and taken care of, weather providing, right after July. So that's gonna be our most expensive product. We have the money for that right now, but that's gonna hurt us as far as financial, and we're working on fundraising, but it's been slow. You know, small donations as far as financial. Okay, any questions?
A little tidbit of information for the Heritage Village is I welcome all of you to come out, we'll give you a personal tour too. We have 32 buildings that we operate, try to maintain. Right now I have someone up on the roof on the main street there. We looked and had heavy rains and we had a leak in the roof and found out the rubbers on the screws on the tin roof. The metal roof on an angle I thought was good forever. Well, the rubbers tend to break off, snap off, so I've got someone up there, we're repairing that roof right now. It's a constant battle, we're triaging all the time. We're proud of it, we're trying to get the outsides done, we need to reposition some other things. We acquired Uncle Sig's 41 of his clocks that he built, all scroll work. It was donated, when he passed away, it was donated to the UND Museum of Arts. And they called us about a year ago and says, well, would you want it back? I said, well, I would be coming home. He said, well, do you have some of Uncle Sig's? I says, you got the quarter land and all the buildings and everything. Yes, we have it all, except his clocks. I was being a little bit facetious with him for a while. And then he said, well, we're gonna keep about 10 or 11 of them because we have them in different buildings and around. I said, really? I said, when you get a bunch donated to you and then you just give part of it back, you know, and so Larry and I went down there and we couldn't fit it all in his pickup with the topper on, and then we had to go back for a second load and we've got clocks all over the place. We're sitting there like,
Now what?
they should have maybe kept a few more, but I think I've got a carpenter coming in to donate his time to build the shelves in there that are gonna be as airtight as possible, because these clocks, it's just all scroll work. I don't know when Sig did this at nights and the winter time all night long or what, but there's some clocks that are over 4 foot tall, this big a base, and it's all scroll work. He bought the timepieces in them, but it's something to see. It'll be something to see. And along with UND there too, I just went a few days ago, last Thursday, Friday, to pick up Lieutenant Colonel Elton Ray Sock's memorabilia that was in the UND Memorial Building that they took out, boxed up, packaged up, tore it down, built a new memorial building. Mickey Rainsock, his son, got a letter from UND stating that, well, we reevaluated our stance on this, that we are no longer going to have single people represented or honored. We will honor all the services and stuff. Well, Lieutenant Colonel Ringsock is the most decorated World War II vet in North Dakota.
Yeah.
And one of the top 4 or 5 in the United States in World War II. So Mickey called us up through another friend, through whatever, we started talking, they come down, we had supper, long story short. We connected up pretty hard and he says, you will get the original helmets and stuff. They're building that big museum in Bismarck. And they called him on it and he says, you guys up there took me from one of the darkest days of my life when they sent back my dad's stuff because Tom Clifford and them said it would live on for infamy. Well, we know what that did to the Sioux name and for his thing and whatever, and Uncle Sig's clock. So nothing lasts forever, but, we now have it, it's home. We're putting the finishing touches to it. Larry's using all his magic in there and he's doing a hell of a job.
It's a community effort.
So anyway, I digress, Larry, you can.
Bill covered most of what we're doing. Also, we come up, the gentleman was kind enough to donate us a very nice railroad set. And that's upstairs in the barn. That's also a work in progress, but some people need to come up and take a look at that. We're working on a library out there that, Doc Blanchard was really wanted all his years. He passed away, but it's pretty much done now. We have a few more books to go into it, but I'm hoping he's looking down smiling. We're busy out there. There's no doubt about that. So yes, we definitely would appreciate these monies. Joe said I'm treasurer for the Historical Society. We've already donated $7,500 so far this year to both the Heritage Village and the Minto Museum. I'm sure if we get this grant and whatever, we'll be donating more because both of them need money. There's no doubt about that.
Well, I just want to thank you guys. I know this is budget, but this is really the only time you guys come in and explain to us things. And it's on Zoom, and if people are listening, you know, it just gives a plug to both places. And so I just wanted to.
A little tidbit, this train set is not your little train set you have when you're 6, 8 years old. It's G scale. The engines are about this long, about that high, and about that wide, weigh about 40 pounds.
These guys have been toiling on this since they got it last fall, right?
So,
And then
They've
they're-
been working on their own time, building the track and everything, and
And then they're
I've been up
toys.
there and looks great.
boys in their
Not
toys,
that it
that's
looks
like
great.
that.
Well, it's better than playing with Barbie dolls like what we're talking. We got a bunch of them too.
Yeah.
They're the worst for spring.
Yeah. So is there any more questions for, yes,
Do
Dan?
you have the rent included off that land from that you got? You said you had a
The
quarter.
Heritage Village, yes, we get the rent. It's 100, actually, it's only about 132 acres because the yard is 17 acres, I think, and that was on a highway. But yes, we get the rent, from that, goes at Heritage Village.
You don't have that included in here?
Not in the historical, no.
Not in the Harshman, yeah.
That's in the Heritage Village?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a-
Yeah. And just to let you know, it's not in here, but Larry and I doubled our wages from last year. We added another zero together. So
You got 4 zeros now?
Yes, we do appreciate,
we're
you
getting-
guys need to go out there and see what they've
Yeah.
done, because,
I'm guilty of not having done it or the mental one.
yeah. The Minto Museum and Museum Alive is the best thing to go
We
there.
both have
Take
our,
kids there.
we both have our highlights and we directed to different areas, but it's, yeah.
So you mentioned Minto Museum, there's not one this year, is there?
That's
Next year?
2025.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought.
Museum Alive.
Yeah.
Madam Chairman, are you doing anything over Summerfest at Heritage, like
We
tours?
have our annual dinner from 11 to 1. The car show is now going to be back in the area, on the south lawn. We will have the carousel, ride going for free. All buildings will be open from at least 12 to 4, and then it's gonna be open a lot sooner than that. So, yeah, we should be busy.
You guys do a great job out there.
So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
And if there's a little more in your budget, you know, I know some. We're not shy, we'll accept what we
And that's-
even from you.
Another Tuesday, I'm sick of listening to you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank God they got the passion to do it. I do. We don't have
Do
any.
we have any more budget business to talk about?
So how much rent do they get off that?
I don't know any.
You can call historic
Yeah.
Heritage Village and find out. Okay, hearing none,